Yo, Twitch banned Asmongold. If you want to know why, listen to episode 3 of the Reaction Podcast with Hasan the Hun. Holy shit, do we have a treasure train? Do we have a motherfucking treasure train? Ladies and gentlemen, subscriptions are 35% off right fucking now. This is literally the best time to support the stream to get as many people subscribed as possible for the lowest amount of money. Holy shit. Welcome on in, everybody, to the Central Committee stream, the home of winning, baby. Woo! Okay, so we have a lot to cover. The first is the Democratic Party establishment took on Hasan. Does anybody have that meme? Oh shit, I want to make that meme where it's like, you know, the boxer meme where it's like, I'm gonna fight as Hasan Piker. Oh, Hasan Piker has hands. We need that meme. We need that fucking meme because the Democratic Party establishment took on Hasan Piker and lost. Oh fuck. I mean, I do go after centrists, but they're getting like 100 posts, 300 likes, maybe a couple thousand. And by the way, you know who the top like tweets are? All just Destiny Orbiter people. It's honestly, they have absolutely no motion. But I made a post about Destiny. I don't know if you guys saw this. I'm gonna show you this. Sorry for inflicting this on all of you, but Tim Miller immediately went on to Destiny's show. Tim Miller instantly went on Destiny's show. Here's what I need. I need a highlight reel of all of Destiny's shit. I want him talking about the child porn. I want him although it would be best if you started off with he wants to genocide Palestinians, the Black Lives Matter protesters, trans people are subhuman, say something about him wanting to say the N-word. Like, we need to get a Destiny compilation that's pretty tight of like his most, and then justified child pornography. I want that shit. Every time somebody posts something out of context about Hasan, I want you guys to be posting that shit about Destiny. Let's make it so anytime anyone interacts with Destiny, they get that same clip compilation spammed against them. I want that to be Destiny's life. I don't want to have like 5 different clips that I have to like from a bunch of people. We need a highlight reel. We need a highlight reel of all of it put together.
I don't like predators, period. I don't care if you're offending or not offending.
Okay, hold on. Who disagrees with Brittany? Who disagrees with Brittany?
What, if you just because you molest a child doesn't make you a pedophile. That's
oh shit. Damn, that's such a good one. That's a good one. That's the type of shit I want to see. That's the type of shit I want to see. I want this guy driven down. I want everybody who associates with Destiny to be getting this shit. I want them to be on the defense 24/7, 365. Okay, we need this shit tightly edited together. Now, I'm not gonna do it because I'm a streamer. I stream, but we need to get this stuff together. We need to get this stuff together. Okay. Now, he's already banned from Twitch. He's already demonetized from YouTube. He's currently being sued for revenge porn, but his life isn't hell enough yet. It's not enough. We got to up the scales. We got to up it. We got to keep pushing. Do it on the reaction pod. Honestly, we have a Destiny episode in the chamber, and honestly, I kind of want to redo it because I think it's too nice. Quite honestly, I think it's too fucking nice. We have a Destiny episode of the chamber. We have a clavicular episode of the chamber. So they're coming. Like, they're already completed. They're edited. They're ready to go. So Fox News about Hasan's rallies today. Anyway, chat. We have a hype train. We have a hype train today. It's a treasure train, which means 35% off gifted subs. Oh, and that reminds me, we won again. Asmongold got a 7-day ban during the Trump administration with a Republican trifecta. When we win in 2026, when we win, when the Democrats and the whatever take back the Senate and the House, we're gonna be all over him, man. We're gonna be all over this guy. Oh yeah, and I did make this post about Destiny, which was Destiny called for the mass killing of Black Lives Matter protesters, takes credit for Nick Fuentes' career, is currently being sued for revenge porn, advised IDF soldiers on hiding war crimes, admitted to being an Islamophobe. Oh, wait, we're at 97%, 98%, keep it going, no! Okay, we have a level 13 hype train, not bad, chat. The rip. And called for the genocide of Palestinians. This is literally true. But we had a 99% treasure trade. 99%? Come on, Twitch. God damn it. If you gift now, he'll be even more mad. You gift now. When you don't have a 35% discount, I'll be so fucking mad at you for being economically illiterate. Like Destiny. Okay? You could have gotten a 35% discount and you missed it. I'll be so fucking mad at you. So fucking mad at you. Destiny watched a Palestinian son, father getting shot on stream and called it acting. Yeah, it was a civilian trying to rescue his family. And he said he was farming TikTok clips. That's where people go, oh, Mike, you threatened Destiny. No, I never threatened Destiny. But it was such a disgusting clip that anyone who's a human being would see that and have a reaction. 44% of Taurico voters said his criticism of Israel is more important to them and swayed their vote for him. Just 1% of the voters said they would sit out the general election if Democratic nominee supported reducing. Yeah, obviously. I mean, like, this is, I mean, it's obvious. Quick rundown is why Asmongold got banned. Honestly, who fucking knows, man? Like, he says so many rule breaking things. Vio, what the fuck? Vio, what the fuck? I'm telling you. Say thank you. Would have had that same amount of subs for a fucking 35. Wait, the button still says 35% all gift subs. Oh, okay. Woo. Okay, thank God. Okay, thank God. I was about to have a meltdown. Oh, thank God. Okay. He claims he was banned for saying he doesn't care what third worlders think. Show the email, you fucking. See, this is, by the way, this is a lie. You know how you know it's a lie? Because he didn't show the email. He would show evidence. Also, goddamn, he's botted, dude. He's so fucking botted. It's crazy how much they bought this guy. They bought the fucking hell out of this guy. That's so funny. Blatant double standard. I didn't break TOS. Sit down and clean your bedroom again. Go clean your room again. Fucking pussy. Can we take a look at this before we cover the garbage? Yeah, it's so cool. I love the fact that people think that we're not going to the moon or we didn't go to the moon. Like, moon landing conspiracies are like my favorite one. It's like my favorite IQ test. Like, did we land on the moon is like my favorite IQ test. It really is my favorite one. 9/11 conspiracy theories, I'm a little bit more, you know, those are a little bit more, you know, there's truth to them. So I give you a pass. If you think America did 9/11, like, I give you a pass. It's more complicated than that, but basically we did. I mean, our former proxy forces went rogue, which is not quite the same thing as us doing 9/11, but it's close enough, right? So I don't really get that worked up about it. But landing on the moon, like thinking we didn't land on the moon, is so funny. It's actually one of the funniest things. Like, people think the Soviet Union is like helping us cover it up. It's like, and it kind of shows you why the left is kind of falling off, because back in the day when we landed on the moon, the Soviet Union had enough self-respect and had enough like status within the scientific community, like Soviet scientists and Soviet engineers, and the Soviet space program was held in such high regard that they didn't want to ruin their own prestige by making a conspiracy theory, right? So they didn't say anything because we landed on the moon. If you know anything about the Soviet Union, you know that if they thought we faked it, they would have exposed it immediately. So they tracked the fucking rocket to the moon. Like, it's not that hard. And you have to have absolutely no understanding of geopolitics to think that the United States got away with faking the moon landing. Like, that's funny. That's fucking funny. And that's even before getting into all of the like scientific evidence and all of the, you know, the fact that we didn't have the camera technology to do the things that people claim that we do, and all the dumb shit that people get tricked by because they're not intelligent enough to like figure things out. But ultimately, it is very funny to me because landing on the moon is not that impressive, to be honest. Like, it is impressive for the sense that we're naked, we're bald apes. Like, it is impressive that bald apes were able to throw a metal rock at another celestial body. That is in a certain sense impressive, but the technology we're talking about is not that. It's not that advanced. Okay, like it really isn't. It's really just more the expense is really high. Okay, I'm gonna fight Hasan. Damn, Hasan got hands. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. This is the reason he got banned.
Strait is open. The IRGC is fractured. What if there's a group of people that are in the IRGC that think that Iran is capitulating and they're going to keep bombing ships in the sea? This is a reality of what could happen.
Yeah, that's what. Well, I mean,
I think that I think it's a big issue.
Leaders,
even if they say that.
Where's the pause
Like the
button?
IRGC is fractured massively. Don't fracture it then.
Website.
Well, we had to.
Garbage.
Strait
website.
is open. The IRGC is fractured. What if there's a group of people that are in the IRGC that think that Iran is capitulating and they're going to keep bombing ships in the sea? This is a reality of what could happen. And I think that it's a big issue, even if they say that. Like the IRGC.
It's so funny. A guy who is known as being an unskilled DPS warrior in World of Warcraft, which is basically the equivalent of saying that this guy is not really a human being, is pretending like he understands mosaic warfare, mosaic irregular warfare strategies. You know what I mean? Like this guy hasn't read the back of the shampoo bottle while taking a shit, and he's telling you he understands mosaic shampoo bottles. Like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Sea is fractured massively. Don't fracture it then. Well, we had to. I mean, like you had to do that. It was open before the war. Yeah,
hey,
but
I'm an unskilled DPS warrior, but then yes, but presumably you have other talent, right? That's not your entire life. Like, presumably you're doing something else with your time than just being an unskilled DPS warrior. Too lazy to go to elitistjerks.com or whatever the fuck, right?
Open, but there were also 50 other problems. No, we didn't. I do think so. I think that Iran, you can't have a civilized world and a safe world with a country like Iran. I think that they need to get wiped out.
I think legitimately the fact that he was too bitch made to play hardcore WoW because his ego couldn't handle, like, I think that's the funniest thing I've ever read in my life. Like, I honest to God, every time like that, those ideas form into my brain, it's so funny to me. It may not be funny to you. I'll try to explain it. Basically, there was a version of World of Warcraft that they released where if you died, you were permanently dead and your character was deleted. Okay? So you could not die. If you died, your character was permanently deleted. All right? This game has been out for decades now. All right? It's trivialized. It's been studied. Everybody understands it. The difficulty is low. There's infinite add-ons. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can protect yourself and save yourself from dying. And so it's impressive to, like, still, nonetheless, making it to level 60 without dying is kind of an impressive feat, right? Like, it means that you don't have your attention break or, you know, your internet doesn't disconnect. Like, vanilla WoW, hardcore. Good, interesting idea. High stakes, fun, right? He's been playing World of Warcraft for most of his life. He was too bitch made to make a character. He never even tried. Now, the reason why that's even more pathetic than trying a lot and failing is because in his mind, like, this is why it's funny to me, is imagining his mental state, like having a theory of Asmongold's mind. It's so funny to me. So I'm going to tell you why it's so funny to me. So I'm imagining being Asmongold, which is already hilarious, right? And then dedicating your life to a video game, right? And getting a huge ego about that game, which is also fucking funny, right? But then knowing deep down that you suck, but you're such a narcissist that you're worried that everybody else will know that you suck at World of Warcraft. So you don't even try. Because so, like, deep down, you know you're a bitch-made loser, but your ego is so big that you don't even try. Like, and because you have such level of certainty that you're a fucking cuck, that you don't even try. On the game you dedicated your life to, the game that made you famous, you don't even try. There's not even an iota of, like, well, maybe I won't die. Mike, no offense, Mike, but that's the dumbest criticisms. There's a million dumb and racist things you can criticize him for. He sucks, but it 100% gets stream sniped. Bro, it's a PvE server. It's a PvE server. You're not even getting PvP'd. And he would have gotten a bunch of extra fucking loot and gold and weapons and health packs and everything else given to him by his community. He definitely gets boosted more than he gets sniped. Like, get out of here, man. There was a whole group of streamers called OnlyFans. Also, the other thing is, I'm sorry, the reason why this is funny is because it's not about any of the other dumb shit he said. It's about who he is as a man. And that is funnier to me. That all the evil shit he says, it's funnier to me that at his core, he's absolutely a pathetic worm. And that's fucking awesome to fun. That's funny. That's why he has the politics he has. Because he's a fear-filled worm. And that's funny to me. I'm sorry if you don't get it, which is fine. You're allowed to not get it. But it's just really funny to me.
The government does. You can't coexist with people like that.
Chatter, just think about this. It's a video game. He could just make another character. Exactly. And the other thing, it was like the most popular streaming event. Like it would have been, you're a streamer. It's the most popular streamer event. It's about your main game and you don't do it because you're such a cuck. That is funny to me. I'm sorry. How is that not funny to you? I mean, I guess, you know, whatever. Maybe it's because I'm a streamer. It would be like, imagine the like biggest event was like politics. And all the streamers were like streaming into politics. And there was an open casting call for like a political streamer event. And I was invited. And I was just like, nah, I'm scared of losing a debate to Tyler 1. You know what I mean? Like, people would make fun of me. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Hasan turned down the DNC because he was too scared to get mogged by CNN. Yeah, exactly. I turned down an interview with Kamala Harris. I just don't give two shits about the Nazi. I'm trying to imagine a world where it's 2026. I'm trying to imagine the mentality of somebody going like, you know, Donald Trump was elected twice, mainly through the internet memes, normalizing him to the young men. I'm just going to ignore one of his biggest supporters. I don't care about that because it doesn't matter, even though it objectively does. Imagine living your life like that. You've been telling us to read Gramsci to understand the significance of the culture war. Can you recommend any specific notebooks/chapters? That's a really good question. I just picked up a prison notebooks and then it was accidentally destroyed by VO. Now, again, it's okay. I'm just saying I don't have it readily at hand right now. It was accidentally destroyed by VO. No, I don't have it right at hand. I have to get another one.
And the sooner that you get rid of them...
VO is destroying March's work. She put like double-sided tape on it and it like adhered to it, thereby destroying it. So... I need to get a new one. This clip from Artemis was such a beautiful human moment. It made me tear up so hard. Okay, yeah, we'll cover that. I want to keep making fun of Asmongold though. Hold on. Honestly, my favorite thing in history is Asmongold. I really love it, man. Like I can't get mad at Asmongold, and I'll tell you why. Because he's so motionless and he's such a worm. I don't know why. I just can't get mad at it. It's just like you just think about how he lives and you just have to smile. It's just so funny. I've explained it before. I'll explain it again. It's like this guy's a multimillionaire and he lives like a crack addict, or no, he lives like he's a heroin addict who is ripping like copper out of the walls to get their necks fixed. And like, I honestly respect the heroin addict more. Like more. I respect them more because they're at rock bottom, right? But they have the wherewithal to get out of their house and like try to scavenge scrap, right? They have a goal in life, which is to get the next bag, right? Like I respect a heroin addict more than I do Asmongold. And like I can empathize with a heroin addict more than I can Asmongold. Asmongold is a multi-millionaire. The entire world. Think about the world. Think about all the things you might want to try. Michelin-starred restaurants, visiting beautiful national parks. Think about experiences that you might have. Maybe it's just to like take a sailboat out into the ocean. Maybe it's to climb a mountain. Maybe it's to, I don't know, get the most luxurious massage. Like, just imagine all the perspectives, all the experiences. Maybe you want to learn something. Maybe you want to be, just think about anything. Fashion, art. And he lives in a shithole Texas suburb with popcorn ceilings, surrounded by pests and filth and takeout bags. And the guy never experiences anything. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't even get high. Like, this guy has the whole world as his oyster, and he lives inside of a pustule. It's fun. It's not even sad. It's fucking hilarious. even if all those experiences don't appeal to you, you could at least spend the money on like helping people, right? Maybe you could start an animal rescue or whatever the fuck. You have unlimited choices, and his choices are to live like that, and it's fucking awesome. It fucking rules because he's miserable. I know it, you know it, and honestly, he deserves it, and he lives like that because he knows he deserves it. Right? He knows he deserves it, which is fucking awesome. I just love it, man. Bulwark mods stealing your name for Destiny. Oh, wait, what happened? Bulwark mods banning Destiny, Sex Pestity posts. Warning to Destiny and Hasan fans for the mod team. Please respect the subreddit. Don't use it as an ideological battleground and form to air your grievances against each other. From my experience, Destiny fans are cultish, toxic, and downright obnoxious, if not vastly more so than Hasan fans. Destiny is a despicable person who has been credibly accused of sexual harassment, revenge porn, and various other misdeeds by 4 separate women. He's a Trump-like figure in any ways. So any pro-Destiny videos or pro-Destiny content, unless it's done with a Bulwark pundit, will be immediately deleted and the user potentially banned. Even the cool Decoding the Guru's hosts have stopped interacting with Destiny since these allegations came to light. So maybe not the best decision by Tim to do a live stream with him. But anyways, this is a warning to users here about posting other pro-sex pestity content. Please respect the subreddit and go pitch your battles elsewhere. By the way, the idea that Hasan is like the other side of the coin of these people is literally not true. We tried ignoring them for literally half a decade, okay? And they spent their entire time discrediting us and spamming us and stalking us and trying to get us deplatformed. Stop saying it's a battle. They're attacking us because they're psychosexually fixated. It's not my job. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, this is such victim blaming bullshit. Well, why are you being stalked? What did you do to this person who's stalking you? Shut the fuck up. So obnoxious. Also hilarious. Breaking news, Taco. In a call with Brett Baer, Trump says 8 p.m. deadline today could change if negotiations move forward, but sticking to deadline for now. I mean, I think Donald Trump knows. I think Donald Trump knows that the markets, the moment people realize that he's actually in a forever war, the markets are going to crash, right? So he has to constantly, like, they keep getting propped up by the idea that he's, and by the way, I don't know if you noticed, oil prices are not going down. I don't know if you noticed this. Oil is now more expensive in America than it is in Europe, which is insane. All right, let's finish making fun of Asmongold. We're probably going to come back to this later, but it is just funny. I mean, there's really... Okay, let's go listen to this guy.
The more painless it is.
Why the fuck is everyone laughing and calling him Taco for not destroying the world? Like, I mean, I get it, but he keeps lying. But man, this could all give him a petty reason not to capitulate. He's not going to taco. He's not going to taco. I want you to understand. He's not tacoing. That's everybody... That's everybody's fucking cope. He's not tacoing. They're invading. I told you they're invading on the 11th. The night of the 10th toward the 11th, I expect them to do a landing. Maybe it'll be in the morning on the 11th. They're invading. I think it's going to be this weekend. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I honest to God believe they're doing it. And the reason why I say that is there's no way out of this. There's no way out of this. And Donald Trump is listening to Bibi Netanyahu. Like, and he wants us to invade Iran. Also, everybody made fun of Destiny just yesterday. Firm made $950K each year. Mate, it's a 501c3 nonprofit. They aren't making money. LOL. Also, the idea that a nonprofit isn't making money for the principles is one of the dumbest things ever. Destiny, you're such a dumb piece of shit. If I have all nonprofit means is nonprofit for the organization as a whole. If I pay myself $10 million, I'm personally profiting $10 million, even if the organization as a whole is not making profit. How are you stupid? Like, how are you this fucking stupid? How? How do you live? How do you exist? You're subhuman. Who listens to this dipshit? Crazy. Also, it was a consulting firm. Our clients have one thing in common. They're dedicated to strengthening American democracy. We're a full-service communication firm that builds high-profile and high-impact persuasion campaigns and projects that sustain and grow a durable bipartisan pro-democracy coalition. High impact. Meaning they get to go on MSNBC whenever they want. Because it's like that. But by the way, it's not because people like them. It's because the owners of the network want to push their ideological views. Be nice. There's nothing on Wikipedia about any of this, so there's no way for him to know. Destiny has ChatGPT now. He can approximate a human's intelligence, but how How many times do you think he uses it a day at GPT? Non-profit doesn't mean anything. Newsflash. Okay, where was it? I was making fun of Asmongold. We got distracted by Destiny because it's funny to think about how dumb he is too.
You can't coexist with them. They aren't. The reason why they're not like they would attack us more if they could. We coexist with the CCP. The CCP isn't chanting out death to America. We actively do business with the CCP constantly. They don't have a religious overruling ideology that is a conquer ideology, and they don't
Guys, I fucking love how dumb he is, man. I fucking love how he's right. Communism, very peaceful. We are a peaceful people. He's right. Socialists, communists, we are a peaceful people. He's right. You could say that. We are just here to do business. That's all. That's all we want to do. It's so funny. Yeah, like honestly, I used to have the same opinion that most other socialists did about Deng, but I honestly think Deng may be the most underrated socialist of all time. And I think it was Xi Jinping that made me see that. Because Xi Jinping exists, I can now look back on Dengism and go, you know what? He was cooking actually. Until Xi came in. See, Xi was the GOAT that made everyone recognize that Deng was actually good. Because without Xi, then the communists just become corrupted and it falls apart like Russia. But because Xi got in there, Deng is retroactively fucking vindicated. He's actually goated. He's actually goated. What about after Xi? I mean, great question. The human race depends upon how Xi Jinping manages the Communist Party of China beyond his death. Like, that's really it. Like, whether or not the human race dies out depends on that. And that's the last fragility in the Communist Party, which is like, if they hand it over to some capitalist at the last second, collapsing China and then keeping us all under the boot heel of the last communist or socialist, or excuse me, the last capitalist powers. So there's a little bit of pressure on Xi. Literally elite reproduction problem. Yes, that's always the problem. That's always the problem. Xi needs to build a solid legacy. What? He already has like the most solid legacy of any leader of a country outside of like Mao. And Xi has like, what is Xi's negatives? What is the big failures of Xi? Some people would argue that he was too harsh on COVID. He probably saved 5 million lives with his COVID policy. And that was the entire time that was happening. The West was trying to like sabotage China and prevent them from getting vaccines. So he probably saved at least 5 million lives from his COVID policy. The Congo, you're blaming the Congo on Xi Jinping. You're blaming Israel on Xi Jinping. Come on, guys. Xi is dogmatic to a fault. There is no what? He's probably the most pragmatic leader in the entire world. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Censorship got harsh under Xi? What? It's the opposite. He's opening the country. He's probably one of the most open of the leaders of the Chinese party for like decades. Again, just not true. You're just yapping. Hasan on the Asmon ban. We don't even know which clip did him in because there was no mass reporting campaign like the ones you see before I get banned. It also could be any number of statements Asmongold makes on a daily basis that absolutely violates Twitch TOS. Racist, morally repugnant Trump drone. Yeah, I mean, why isn't he showing the email? Where's the email? Where's the email? Where's the email? He didn't post the email, guys. Post the email. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, okay. Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping. Listen, I have my criticism of Xi. I think they should do more domestic consumption by increasing welfare redistribution. I think they should do a little bit more welfare redistribution. The Chinese Communist Party is like very, very loath to create transfers. They're increasing them somewhat, but I think they need to do more of that to increase domestic consumption. I also think they should value their gross domestic product fairly. Right now, they're keeping their gross domestic product undervalued, so they remain the #2 economy. But in reality, they're probably about 50% bigger than the US, and they should just lean in. They should just be like, we're the biggest economy in the world. They're underestimating the size of their economy because they're trying to stay under the radar. And you have to understand that Westerners are very stupid, so they look at one number and they think it explains everything. So they go, oh, China's economy is #2. We don't have to worry yet. You know? So I think they should just lean into being the biggest. What book should we all read that's currently on your bookshelf? Oh, I really like this one, which is an abridged version of Xi Jinping's The Governance of China. I think everybody should read that. Very rarely does anybody listen to what Xi Jinping says about anything. There's some more books to read, but legs wider than the book cover. So true. Like, have you read Torquil Lawson's The Long Transition? We need Xi Jinping voices and Westoid faces. Remember when Mark Zuckerberg and shit were posting about making their employees read that when they were trying to get into China? It's so funny. I didn't even know about that. A second Fox News segment about Hasan dropped. Okay, let's finish listening to Zach. Why Zach got banned. Can we do that? All right, let's keep going.
Killed their people, at least. I mean, like, again, if the numbers are to be believed, the Tiananmen Square massacre was nothing compared to what Iran did. Iran, like, 2x that, almost 3x that. And also, I think that China is becoming more westernized and more Americanized and more capitalist. And I think that Iran, that will continue to happen too. And I think that we're also becoming slightly more Chinese. But I think that's the global that's the global exchange, right?
It's so funny, like, as a very intelligent ideological grouping versus this, like, when I talk about other leftists, they're bringing up some strong points, and I'm frustrated because some of their, like, I understand why they believe what they believe. On the right, they just say random blathering. But the thing that you have to understand is you have to look past what he's saying to the underneath. What's underneath this is China is powerful, therefore right-wingers are scared of it. That's it. Because China is powerful, it gets respected by the right. That's the only thing you need. Like, if you want to deal with the right, you have to make them feel scared. Like, actually scared.
China doesn't seem communist nowadays. Well, here's how you know China is not communist, okay? It's because their kids want to be influencers now, and they're getting fat. That's how you know they're not communist anymore. It's just that simple. But anyway, guys, I'll be back on tomorrow, and I will see you guys then. So
he did not get banned for that. He didn't get banned for any of that. His talking points on Iran or China put him at risk? No. This is just someone showing a clip. There was nothing in there that was that objectionable at all. Asmon is just a sentient shit stain. Someone who hasn't even seen or traveled his own country, has such demonic opinions about a foreign country he's never visited or has any understanding of. Persians are literally the most pro-American group. They were in 1953 in the Middle East. And the reason why we have a Islamic Republic in that country is because the United States of America backstabbed their democracy to steal their oil for BP. Not even an American oil company, but for British Petroleum. So now they have to fight back against our puppet who had a secret police that was torturing people. And unfortunately, the conservatives in society were the strongest force. And so after the revolution, they were able to suppress the rest of Persian society. And so we have we have a very conservative fundamentalist government instead of the secular democracy that we overthrew. Congratulations. But if you want to deal with, if you want to improve Iran, if you cared about Iran, then you would accept Iran back into the international community and you would allow them to develop naturally without interference. He posted on X why he was banned. He just said shit. It's just propaganda. He just said propaganda, guys. It's not in any way related to like actual evidence. He said banned for an entire week because I said I don't give a fuck about the opinions of illiterate third worlders. That's just propaganda, guys. That's propaganda. Unless he shows you the fucking email saying banned for blah, that is just, he's just saying propaganda and misinformation, and it's not reliable at all. Surely him saying Iranians need to be wiped off the face of the earth would be it. Why would it? The president's saying it. I mean, can he lessen the ban by apologizing? Well, he was just banned recently for calling for genocide, so maybe not, but maybe. All right, let's go and talk about actual news. Donald Trump said that the entire civilization of Iran will die. Now, people are starting to take that as an indication that maybe he's threatening to use some sort of nuclear weapon because the United States is kind of running out of standoff munitions. Do you think China should have a similar trade relationship with Cuba as the USSR did and more to help them circumvent sanctions? I mean, personally, I would do that. If I were Xi Jinping, I would do that. I would set up a $25 billion program to invest in Cuba. The problem that Cuba has is it's geographically far away from China. It's geographically far away from China. And so supporting it is very difficult because they have to either go through the Panama Canal or they have to go all the way around the They have to go right around, what is that, the Strait of Magellan, around the bottom of South America, and then go all the way up. Like, it's very difficult to access Cuba from China. But again, I'm not Xi Jinping, and he knows they're helping Cuba. They are helping Cuba. Trump wants us to do genocide. Oh boy.
A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. That is the definition of genocide. Not a war, not a defensive war, but a literal bombardment, like Martians, attack us and we don't have a defense. And I want to be clear. I am proud I backed Trump the last 10 years. So much good happened. Globalism was absolutely discredited and dismantled. It's part of a larger wave worldwide. But this new Trump really started when Elon Musk got run out of there. In the last 8 months is a disaster. And I abhor the Democrats. I absolutely know they're globalist and are a major threat. But currently, Trump, with this Iran war and the energy crisis and the PR disaster, I mean, the North Korean dictator doesn't talk like this. He talks like a supervillain from a Marvel comic. And, oh, they love the bombs. Oh, yeah, they love it when that bridge blew up and everybody was camping under it, running, screaming. We're terrorizing those people. Now he's just going to hit their water plants, all their electricity, and all their bridges. Those are quotes. That is a war crime under the Geneva Convention that we are a signatory to. And it's not how America operates. It's not how we roll. I can tell you, as I told you months ago, people inside the White House are horrified. The majority of them are. But no one will tell him to his face. Susie Wiles was in the news last week saying, I'm asking the cabinet staff to tell Trump the truth about the war. Told you all that before it came out. Even Susie Wiles, and she's no dove, is trying to put the brakes on this. We're now 38, 39 days into it. He says he doesn't care if the strait's closed, but you better open it or I'll effing destroy you. Stone Age crap. So Marjorie Taylor Greene joined me this morning. We talked this morning. And she put out a post saying, 25th Amendment. And yeah, we don't have the votes in the Senate and all the rest of it. And I don't think his cabinet's going to turn on him. But the point is it sends a very strong message of stop it. Israel is a rogue state, most unpopular in the world. We're now following them in the poll numbers, just to show people think of us. Communist China's more popular in America now. We're losing all our soft power. Inflation's exploding. Energy prices are exploding again. That will derail all of Trump's plan. Economists warned before he did it. And it's a fact. This is a disaster. And the cherry on top is there's no exit plan, and all of Trump's old enemies that said F Trump, never Trump, the Mark Levins, the Ben Shapiro's, all of them, all the neocons, they love him now. And all the real patriots, the 1776ers that MAGA rode in on, we're persona non grata. Well, good. I don't want to be at the megalomaniac table, in junior high. I don't want to be at the cool, drooling warmonger table. I've backed Trump as he started going sideways the last 8 months overall because there was so much good still being done. But this existential threat to literally the world existing on the extreme end and on the lesser bad end, just economic collapse or discredited worldwide, is just too dangerous. It's too existential. So I saw these idiots over the years say, oh, Jones isn't bashing Trump because he wants access. Access to what? Access. I talk to whoever I want to. Got all these sources, but what does that mean? I can see Trump's actions out in the open. I've never tried to be in D.C. or Mar-a-Lago. I'm here in Austin, Texas, where I'm from, being independent. And that's what I stand for. I see all the idiots in the comments on my viral post this morning. Oh, wire hits your account? No, you're the ones like Salem Radio, openly owned by the Israeli government. That's in the public filings. I mean, just crazy town.
Okay, so I've been listening to Alex here, and I haven't been saying anything because I've been thinking a lot about the kind of level underneath what he's saying, because everything he's saying is true. Not when he describes himself, but rather the analysis he's giving. That it's a war crime. It's a definition of genocide. It's the globalists love Trump. Blah 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 blah. He's right. It's a disaster. We're losing our soft power. China's more popular than us. all that shit. He's all that's correct. And when Alex Jones is saying stuff that's correct over and over and over again, he's just laying out analysis that is correct over and over and over again. You have to step back and say, why? Why is Alex Jones suddenly making sense? And this is the first time I thought that maybe Alex Jones really is a CIA asset. Maybe Alex Jones actually is a CIA asset. And the reason why I say that is because I'm certain the CIA doesn't like this shit. I'm sure the CIA is against the war in Iran because it's dumb as fuck and we're not prepared and we're not doing, and it doesn't seem to have a purpose. And I'm sure the CIA is dissenting, like as much as they can, and they're saying this doesn't make any sense. We're not doing anything here. We're not accomplishing anything here. We're exposing ourselves as a paper tiger. Part of the way that empires work is by not having to do shit. They just control the status quo and they collect their rents. That's how empires work. The more an empire has to exercise power to control the world, the more expensive it gets and the more they're going to be exposed. Because no group of human beings is really superior to another group of human beings in the aggregate. One side may have a temporary advantage as far as wealth or development or anything like that. But if you really get into long, drawn-out conflicts, the differences between human groups are a lot less than people think. And I'm sorry, the Iranians are absolutely capable of defending themselves. The Vietnamese showed it they could. The Afghanis could. Afghanistan, they showed us. Iraq. The reason why Iraq was able to fend us off so well is because they were getting helped by the IRGC. The IRGC knows how to do this shit. There's not one group in the entire world that's better than at irregular warfare than the IRGC. They are the world's #1 guerrillas. They are the best guerrillas in the entire world. If we try to invade Iran in their home turf, we're going to have 100,000 dead. It's going to last decades, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's just, and the cost is in the trillions. And the world economy is going to eat shit. I think part of the reason that Trump thinks he could do this is because we have access to Venezuelan oil. So we've been sanctioning Venezuela. We've been sanctioning Russia. And so the world has had to adjust without access to their oil. So I guess because they took over Venezuelan oil and they're bringing in Venezuelan oil again, they think they can use that to ramp it and offset Iran. And I got to tell you, that's not enough. It's not enough. It's not going to work. The distributions are not ready. They're not set up. And you're going to absolutely implode the Middle East. I mean, maybe he thinks he could swing Russia to our side by surrendering Ukraine. But are the Ukrainians and the Europeans going to let him do that? They have their own anxieties toward Russia. Are they going to let, what the fuck is he even doing? Like, it'd be one thing if the war in Ukraine was ended and Venezuela had been integrated fully into the United States again. And, they were fully, that would be one thing. Then you might be able to get around the strait. You might have enough production. But the fact that there's still a war in Ukraine and Venezuela is still in dire straits, although it's improving now, because guess what? They're being allowed to sell their oil to the U.S., which is what they wanted to do for 5 years. It's just, I mean, what the fuck are we even doing here? U.S. crude oil rises as Trump's, look, guys, we haven't had prices this high since 2008. Look at the oil price. It's only been this high once in history. One time. Right before the Great Recession exploded the economy. This is the only time. March of 2008. Now it's April 2026. We are climbing back. This is madness. And this is with people believing the war is going to end soon. This is with people believing the war is going to end soon. The markets are not reflecting a long-term war. Dow is down 10% since he started doing this shit. Stocks fall as ceasefire hopes fade ahead of Trump's Iran deadline. And if they attack Iran's economy, then Iran will have the justification of trying to do as much damage to all of the partners of America in the Middle East. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Now, I am showing you guys this stock. The reason why I bring up stuff like financial information is because this is what these guys actually care about. If you don't read the business press, then you're not an informed socialist. If you don't pay attention to markets, then you are not a socialist. Socialists are experts in capitalism, which means it's studying capitalism. How are bonds looking like? How are German bonds so cheap? That government is in shambles. The German economy is terrible. Why are German bonds so cheap? honestly, this makes sense because France is starting to play nice with Iran. So it makes sense that their bonds are cheaper. The fact that America's treasuries are higher interest rate than French bonds is fucking crazy. Donald Trump is actually JD Pondon. He's actually destroying the basis of American power. The top of the deadline we struck Karg this morning, and Iran responded by saying restraint is over.
Are there certain kinds of civilian targets, though? I'm thinking schools
I don't want to tell you that. I don't want to tell you that. We have a plan because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen. We may even get involved with helping them rebuild their nation. And you know what? If that's the case, the last thing we want to do is start with power plants, which are among the most expensive things, and bridges. You saw the bridge. The bridge went. We were very close to a deal.
Okay, I don't know why we got clean, wash, and emptying. God damn, these newspaper websites are fucking garbage. And as the economy crashes, this is something you should keep in mind. Stop. This is from the film The Big Short, which is about the Great Recession with the housing market crash. These guys just bet against the housing market right before the bubble burst. So they're all celebrating because they were able to bet against the housing market. And they think that they will be multi-millionaires if this bet works. Stop that. Charlie. Oh!
Stop it. Stop.
What? Do you have any idea what you just did?
Oh, come on, we just made the deal of our lifetimes. We should celebrate.
You just bet against the American economy.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Which means, if we're right, people lose homes, people lose jobs, people lose retirement savings, people lose pensions. You know what I hate about banking? It reduces people to numbers. Here's a number. Every 1% unemployment goes up, 40,000 people die. Did you know that?
No.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
We were just excited. Just don't dance.
All right.
Where are you going? Whoa, I just got really scared.
You should be scared, man. You should be scared. And not just for what's going to happen to yourself, but what's going to happen, more importantly, to the Iranian people, our innocent victims.
We are following a number of significant developments in the war with Iran, which is now stretching into its 6th week. Moments ago, President Trump once again reiterated his threat to devastate Iran if a deal is not reached before the deadline he set of 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. The President of the United States posting on social media, in part this: a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. Trump, however, is leaving the door open for a breakthrough, adding, maybe something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. Trump has been threatening this level of devastation for weeks now, repeatedly delaying the attacks on critical infrastructure, like power plants and bridges, attacks that could amount to war crimes. But he suggested in that post, as well as yesterday to reporters, that this latest timeline, his latest deadline, is final.
This is a critical period. They have a period of, well, till tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I gave them an extension. They asked for an extension of 7 days, right? I said, Steve, give them 10 days. 10 days is up actually today, so I gave them 11, I guess, indirectly. I thought it was inappropriate the day after Easter. I want to be a nice person. They have till tomorrow. Now, we'll see what happens. I can tell you they're negotiating, we think, in good faith. We're going to find out. We're getting the help of some incredible...
By the way, negotiated good faith? Well, we've assassinated the negotiators multiple times. We assassinated the supreme leader because he was conferring with other leaders of Iran about the deal, about a diplomatic deal. They bombed his house and killed him and his grandkids, right? Like, what do you mean negotiate in good faith? The United States and Israel are the most bad faith countries in the history of the world. I mean, I mean, this is actually worse than what Nazis did, to be honest with you. Like the Nazis, as far as like bombing negotiators, incredible.
Countries that want this to.
Bro, if you're gonna come in here, you can't come off on alts. Okay, you got to come in here on your main. You got to come on in your main. I need to see your main account. You can't have an account that you made just to try to post trolls in my. You have to post on the main. Come on, post on your main. I want to see you. I want to hear you. I want you to be a man. I know it's tough.
Be ended because it affects them also. A lot of people are affected by this, but we're giving them till tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And after that, they're going to have no bridges. They're going to have no power plants. Stone Ages, yeah. Stone Ages.
For its part, Iran says it would, quote, deprive the U.S. and its allies of the region's oil and gas for years if President Trump carries out that threat. Meanwhile, Iran this morning is already reporting a series of attacks on key infrastructure, saying airstrikes took out a railway bridge, a train station, and a highway bridge in cities across the country. Neither the U.S. or Israel immediately claimed responsibility for the strikes, but the IDF did earlier warn Iranians not to use trains. This comes as the U.S. conducted strikes on military targets on Karg Island. A U.S. official with direct knowledge of these events tells MS Now. This was not an oil infrastructure strike, the official stressed.
Honestly, if the United States nukes Iran, I think I might immigrate. Because, like, who wants to live in an American city at that point? You're begging to get dirty bombed or something. Like, honestly, like if the United States just does an aggressive nuclear detonation, I'm fucking out of this place, man. I'm out of this fucking place. I don't want to be an American anymore if we do something like that. You know, if we just nuke an innocent country that we attacked, that would be it for me. I'm fucking out of here.
Describing the attack as restrikes and what the U.S. had previously hit.
Where would I go? A country that's not in NATO. That's for fucking sure.
The attack occurred in the early morning overnight hours, East Coast time Tuesday, and we're now 11 hours from this deadline. Let's just repeat for a moment the President of the United States and his post this morning. That is threatening a war crime.
I don't think you will. I absolutely will. Unlike you, unfortunately, I've got a lot of friends all over the world, so I'm here in America because I want to improve my country, and I love the people here, and I love this country, and I want it to be improved. I want it to live up to its potential. I want to build a better world, but at a certain point, and nuking an innocent country would be my line. The privilege is gonna privilege. I mean, it is true. It is what it is. I think you're giving him too much credit. Trump isn't speaking in code. He just stated he's going to bomb their infrastructure, setting them to the dark ages. I don't think he's referring to anything else in his tweet. He's not that cryptic. He's not that clever. You don't need to move because when one nuke flies, they will all fly. There's no country left afterwards to move to. I mean, possibly, but also possibly not. All that happens is that the nuclear taboo has been broken. And then every country of the world will wisely want to proliferate. I think once that nuclear taboo gets broken, it is what it is. This is a level of individualism that honestly didn't expect from you. Maybe you should examine that within yourself. What the fuck are you talking about, man? What the fuck are you talking about, man? I'm willing to fight to save this country, but I'm also not going to be part of a polity that supports that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be part of a country that would nuke an innocent country like that. That would be crazy.
That is threatening something genocidal if he follows through with this. And perhaps just a bluff, perhaps it's a negotiating tactic, an 11th hour push to get the Iranians to the bargaining table. But even just issuing that threat from the Oval Office is a remarkable escalation and something we have never before seen from any president of the United States. With us, we have now MS Now senior national.
Once again, why should you have to leave and not fight them? Fight the bastards with the rest of us. I would. Hey, by the way, if that happened, if people were really fighting back, well, then I would definitely stay for that. This is all premised on the idea that you guys accept it like the uninterested cattle you've shown yourselves to be. He just wants their oil. He wouldn't bomb all of it. Why? I mean, all he would have to do is send in workers into the radioactive waste zone. They give a shit about workers. You know how many Republican chuds like think that they would say radiation is a liberal hoax. I'm gonna make some big money drilling that oil in Iran. I'm getting paid $250,000.
Security reporter David Rode, chief White House correspondent for the New York Times, Peter Baker, contributing writer to The Atlantic, Eugene Robinson.
I mean,
and
I don't know if you've seen this, but since TikTok has been bought, it's become even dumber than ever. You have more people that are posting about how the moon landing isn't real. There are people that are posting about how nuclear weapons aren't real. You have people posting it like, and these are things that are going viral. Like they're intentionally shitting in every one of these spaces so that nothing intelligent can exist. I mean, that's what we're living in. We're living in the world where the dumbest shit is escalated and propped up.
Contributing opinion writer for the New York Times, Molly Jong Fast. Our thanks to all of you for being with us this morning. Peter Baker, I'll start with you about the president's post this morning. And we know he is, fond of over-the-top language. He is.
Can you even refine irradiated oil? Has anyone even tried that before? Oil comes from deep underground, man.
Fond of, fire and fury threats and the like. But this, to me, is something entirely new. And even if it does prove to just be a bluff of some sort or a bargaining tactic, this is still a new place for a president of the United States. This is the rhetoric we associate with people like Vladimir Putin, with people like Kim Jong-un, with the monsters of history. And yet we have heard it now from the sitting president.
Yeah, absolutely right. He's using the language of war crimes in a way that no other American president, certainly in our lifetime, ever has. I mean, America traditionally has tried to occupy the high ground. When it comes to wars, wars are fought only out of necessity, not out of spite or out of, emotion or out of bombacity. And presidents, when they talk about war, talk about achieving military objectives, talk about, targeting military targets, not wiping out a civilization. Wiping out a civilization is the language of war crimes. And this is going to be, as you rightly say, you never know with Trump, right? Obviously, this could be just him chest thumping. He likes to do that. He likes to shock. He likes to threaten. He likes to look tough. He's almost 80 years old. He wants to look like a tough guy. But, it's a real test, I think, for the U.S. military at this point, because the U.S. military is bound by law not to follow illegal orders. War crimes, if that's what he ends up ordering, would be illegal. So this is what exactly those 6 Democratic members of Congress foreshadowed when they released that video a few months back, when they said that members of the military should remember that they are obligated under.
I think one of the things that in order for you not to be a liberal, one of the things you need to understand is that law is just politics. There is no God of justice who is administering some sort of system that exists outside of politics and that, it's going to make sure that the rules as written will be followed. That's not how it works. Law is politics. Laws are threats. Okay. And if the system is uninterested, the politicians in the robes are uninterested in forcing the law as written because of their political alliances, then it doesn't exist. And this isn't a theory that I'm saying as some sort of far lefty who doesn't know what he's talking about. This is called legal realism. The leading scholar of this was the Supreme Court Chief Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. Here's Cornell Law School explaining it. Legal realism is a legal theory predicated on the notion that all law derives from prevailing social interests and public policy as opposed to formalistic legal considerations. Legal realism is also thought of as a naturalistic approach to law that jurisprudence should emulate the methods of natural science. That is, it should rely on empirical evidence and hypotheses that have been tested against the reality of the world rather than rely on theoretical assumptions about the law. According to this theory, judges consider not only abstract rules, but also social interests and public policy when deciding a case. In this respect, legal realism differs from legal formalism. Either theory can be understood in a descriptive way, prescriptive way, or both ways at once. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., one of the towering figures in American legal thought, heavily influenced the formulation of legal realism in American law, particularly with his prediction theory of law, which stands for the idea that law should be defined as a prediction, most specifically a prediction of how the courts behave based on realistic or even moral or biased consideration. Holmes famously wrote in The Common Law that the life of the law has not been logic, it has been experience. The felt necessities of the time, the prevalent moral and political theories, institutions of public policy, avowed or unconscious, and even the prejudices which judges share with their fellow men have had a good more to do with than the syllogism in determining the rules by which men should be governed. So in other words, law does not derive because we signed a treaty and say, oh, don't do bad thing. It is the entire social and political reality. And right now, the social and political reality is that America doesn't give a shit about what the law says. America doesn't give a shit about what international law understands. America doesn't give a shit what our treaties say. America doesn't give a shit what the UCMJ says, the Unified Code of Military Justice. It does not care about any of those traditions. It is Donald Trump exercising his will as leader of the Republican cult. And he says we're going to do a genocide, so they are following him. And until that cult is broken, until every single one of those people are afraid, they're going to keep breaking these laws. They're going to keep breaking international law. They're going to keep doing this shit until they are punished, until they are ripped out of every political office, until they are in prison. It's going to continue.
Law to not follow illegal orders. They got punished.
Are you going to start prosecuting military officers for following Trump's orders? Until you start prosecuting service members and generals for following illegal orders, then this is just claptrap. Until they feel like I'm actually going to be prosecuted for violating the Geneva Conventions, even though the president ordered me to, they're going to keep following his orders because that's what the institutions are designed to do. The institutions are designed to carry out the orders of the president. Until you bring in actual prosecutions of generals for following the orders of the president, this is all bullshit. It's all claptrap. It's all propaganda.
Or tried to be punished by the Trump administration for it. In fact, the Trump administration tried to literally prosecute them and throw them in prison for stating, what the law says. And now, of course, that looks different in the context of what we're seeing today. And the question is, what will the military actually do when push comes to shove?
President Trump is once again threatening to devastate Iran's infrastructure if a deal is not reached.
They intentionally carried out a campaign of genocide in Korea. They followed orders and nobody was arrested. Exactly. The United States did the same thing in Laos. It did the same thing in Vietnam. It did the same thing in Korea. We killed millions in Iraq and Syria. We helped support a genocide of the Timorese. We supported a genocide in Indonesia. We supported Pol Pot in Cambodia. Like, that's just, do you want me to go on? I've got more. We supported the dirty wars in Argentina and Brazil. We supported the Contra genocides that took place throughout Central America. We overthrew Arbenz. We overthrew Allende in Chile and the tens of thousands of leftists that were disappeared there. Do I need to continue? We couped the Australian government. We assassinated the Swedish prime minister. I mean, those are secret. We did the years of lead, CIA years of lead in Italy. We supported the fascist collaborators in Greece. Do I need to go on? I'm sorry. The assassination of the Swedish prime minister is not acknowledged. So we don't know who did that. We don't know who did that one. They just got away with it.
To reopen the Strait of Hormuz by 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. The president has repeatedly pushed back this timeline over recent weeks, first issuing an ultimatum to Iran on March 21st before delaying his deadline several times in quick succession. Then on Easter morning, President Trump issued that expletive.
Now, Chad, I have a question for you. How many Swedish prime ministers got assassinated? Just the one who opposed America in Vietnam. Olaf Palm tried to reach his bodyguard detail prior to going to the cinema, but for unknown reasons, he failed to reach. Man, his bodyguards were not there that day. Oh, gosh. Okay, where were we? What fucking video were we on? Okay, we were on this one. Sorry, chat.
Threat to attack Iran's power plants and bridges if the critical waterway is not reopened by tonight. The president then reiterated this morning in a press conference yesterday at the White House, suggesting the timeline.
He opposed apartheid in South Africa and opposed Israel's project in Gaza and the West Bank then too. Yes, I know. Olaf Palm was the social democrat that proves it's weird. However, you're a social democrat that opposes America's imperialism, you end up dead. So odd.
And would be final, while also acknowledging talks are ongoing as the escalatory deadline looms. Iran, however, remains publicly defiant. Tehran yesterday rejected a 45-day ceasefire proposal from mediating countries, instead putting forward its own 10-point plan that calls, in part, for a permanent end to the fighting. Iranian officials, meanwhile, are warning that if President Trump carries out his threats, the consequences.
Here's the Australian one. Oh, let me show you. Harold Holt was an Australia prime minister, and he disappeared. And they're like, oh, he drowned. Oh yeah, you know, the prime minister, he just drowned. This is the one that got. This is the guy who got cooed by the king. This is the Australia prime minister that got cooed by the king. I'm talking about this one, the other one that got that drowned. Harold Holt. I'm pretty sure Harold Holt was against Pine Gap, right? Oh no, he approved it. I thought that he. Okay, what was he? Was it the one who got cooed that was against it? The one that was cooed that was against it. He was against Vietnam, right? He wanted to pull out of Vietnam. It was one of that. It was that. I get mixed up. Anytime Australia tries to be a little bit independent of America, there's a coup.
Will be far-reaching and will be met with a quote.
Yeah, we got the Crown to coup that one because he wanted to end the CIA black sites. Yeah, the United States needs Pine Gap to do global surveillance. Without Pine Gap, we wouldn't have a ground station for satellites that are on the opposite side of the planet from America. So they need Pine Gap so they have complete coverage of the whole world. So Pine Gap is one of the CIA's most important sites.
Regret-inducing response.
Anytime an Australian is like, we're going to close Pine Gap, they get killed.
At this hour, the president is still digging in. Here is more of what he told reporters yesterday in the briefing room.
The entire country can be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night.
You said that very little is off limits in Iran as far as targeting, including power plants, bridges, you've mentioned those.
Very little is off limits.
Are there certain kinds of civilian targets, though? I'm thinking schools.
I don't want to tell you that.
In case you're wondering what the fuck I'm talking about, this is it. This is it. It's called Pine Gap. Pine Gap is a joint Australia-United States satellite communications and signal intelligence surveillance base. It is jointly operated by Australia and the United States since 1988. It's officially been called the Joint Defense Facility Pine Gap. It's jointly run by the Australian Defense Force, the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, the NSA, and the U.S. National Reconnaissance Office. It is a key contributor to the NSA's global interception surveillance effort, which is included in the Echelon program. The facilities at the base consist of a massive supercomputer complex with 38 radomes protecting radio dishes, 800 employees. The chief of the facility is a senior CIA officer. All Australia personnel are prohibited from entering the NSA's cryptology room. His location is strategically significant because it controls United States spy satellites as they pass over the 1/3 of the globe, including China, North Korea, the Asian parts of Russia, and the Middle East. Central Australia was chosen because it was too remote for spy ships passing in international waters to intercept its signals. So there you go, chat. You can't close Pine Gap. We need it to spy on the Middle East and China. Something is happening. Markets are rising sharply. Okay. There was a little bit of a pop there. There was a little bit of a pop. Looks like somebody dumped a bunch of money into things. Some algorithm happened. Boy did do a video on it. Please take a significant amount of time to research mind control technology. I don't think there's very good mind control technology, chatter. I think they tend to do manipulation of like the information ecosystem. That seems to be more effective than any kind of mind control technology. I would suggest perhaps a little bit of an antipsychotic might be helpful for you.
I don't want to tell you that. We have a plan because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night.
Hypnosis is real. You're wrong, Mike. Doesn't hypnosis require like consent? Like, doesn't a person have to believe they can be hypnotized to be hypnotized? I've always thought it was more of like I always thought it was more like a person wanted to be able to act up with possible deniability.
Every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning exploding and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen. We may even get involved with helping them rebuild their nation. And you know what? If that's the case, the last thing we want to do is start with power plants, which are among the most expensive thing, and bridges.
This is Olaf Palm, who was killed by the CIA, in my opinion.
Det finns oerhört mycket som samhället kan göra.
Oh God, he's speaking fucking Swedish. Why did I? There's a lot of society can do to ease the situation for immigrants. Concrete actions that could strengthen the sense of belonging and mutual respect. And about that, I am not going to speak today. Crucial to the success of society's actions are the attitudes toward immigrants among individuals. Democracy is deeply rooted in our country. We respect the fundamental rights and freedoms. Turbid racial theories have never gained foothold. We like to see ourselves as open-minded and tolerant, but it is not that simple. Prejudice does not need to be rooted in some kind of execrable theory. Its origins are much more basic. Prejudice is always rooted in everyday life. It grows in the workplace and in the neighborhood. It gives vent to one's own failures and disappointments. Above all, it is an expression of ignorance and fear. Ignorance regarding other people's uniqueness. Fear of losing a position, a social privilege, a prior right. Of course, skin color, race, language, and birthplace have nothing to do with human qualities. Grade people using such a yardstick is a glaring conflict with principles of human equality. But it's shamefully simple to make use of for the one who feels inferior. In the workplace, in social life, in competition for a girl or a boy. Therefore, prejudice is always lurking, even in an enlightened society. It can appear as a taunt, an insensible retort, a small turpitude. Maybe it is not meant to cause harm. But for the one at the receiving end, it can tear up wounds that will be never healed. I'm telling you because I know, streamer, you're not actually omniscient. The condescension isn't necessary because you actually don't know. Admit you actually don't know instead of pretending you do. I don't think as a phenomenon, mind control technology is a key factor in why the world's fucked up right now. I'm just gonna lay that out there. That's my hypothesis, chatter.
Critical period. They have a period of, well, till tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I gave them an extension. They asked for an extension of 7 days, right? I said, Steve, give them 10 days. 10 days is up actually today, so I gave them 11, I guess, indirectly. I thought it was inappropriate the day after Easter. I want to be a nice person. They have till tomorrow. Now, we'll see what happens. I can tell you they're negotiating, we think, in good faith. We're going to find out. We're getting the help of some incredible countries that want this to be ended because it affects them also. A lot of people are affected by this, but we're giving them till tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and after that, they're going to have no bridges, they're going to have no power plants, Stone Ages, yeah, Stone Ages.
Yeah, you know, it bears repeating what David Ignatius had said from the very beginning, as the president was talking about going into Iran, and that is the fact that the Iranians actually hate their regime. And for the most part, we're hoping the Americans could come lend a helping hand and help liberate them. And Jake, instead, what they have now, what they're hearing now is threats that their entire country is going to be wiped off the face of the earth because, well, the mullahs or the Revolutionary Guard won't do a quick deal. You don't have 4 hours, the whole 4 hours to answer this question, but I know you could. Talk about everything that's wrong with that and how it puts the United States just in a terrible position moving forward.
Well, Joe, you're so right, and David Ignatius is so right, that the Iranian people have basically been written out of this story now. These brave people who went to the streets in huge numbers all across the country to try to claim their freedom and their dignity, who were gunned down by the tens of thousands, now all of a sudden they have to be hunkered down, worried that they're going to be cast into darkness, that their civilian infrastructure is going to be destroyed, and that many of those civilians...
Is that a war crime, by the way?
Well,
what he's talking about, if we go after civilian infrastructure the way he's promising to go after civilian, by the most basic reading of the rules of international law, or would those be war crimes the United States was committing?
The way this is set up, the answer to that question is straightforward. It's yes, they would be, because this is punitive. He's not going after a power plant because it's a pure military target that's fueling the war machine against the United States. He's going against those power plants to punish Iran and punish the Iranian people, to try to make them basically quit.
And here is Donald Trump speaking for the Iranian people. Alex, play this really quickly, if you will, suggesting...
You've said Iranians would be mad if you stopped these attacks, but why would they want you to blow up their infrastructure, to cut off their power? Wouldn't that be punishing Iranians for the actions of the regime?
They would be willing to, and it's suffering, they would be willing to suffer that in order to have freedom. The Iranians have, and we've had numerous intercepts.
Yeah, we have, Jay. We have a president that now says Americans are fine paying $4 a gallon for gas, despite the fact the overwhelming majority of Americans are opposed. Now the president...
Oh, hey, look, they brought on a genocider. They brought on Joe Biden's... It's absolutely incredible to bring on the architects behind the Gaza genocide, Jake Sullivan, on MSNBC. This is what is considered normal in DC. There's a few people in the world that I think should be arrested on sight, and Jake Sullivan is one of those people. This guy is like, evil is a word that gets thrown around a lot, right? We throw out the term evil, we throw out the term bad, we throw out the term, criminal, whatever. Jake Sullivan is the ultimate expression of the banality of evil. There is not one element of this man that is redeemable. Every day that he continues to push his agenda is another day we slide closer to the abyss. There are few people in world history that are as evil as this man. Like, literally, that's not an exaggeration, is to say he ranks up there with Hitler. He ranks up there with Himmler. He's basically Netanyahu's Himmler.
Saying that he knows what the Iranian people
sitting at a table with this man taints you for life.
People. I want to underline this fact again, and we said it before the war, we're saying it during the war. This was a regime on its last legs. This was a regime that was going to die a natural death. This was a regime who looked to America for hope and inspiration. Not a regime, a people. Mm-hmm. Now we're turning them into enemies, and we're the Iranian people that expected us to save them.
We're victimizing them again.
What's so cynical about this is, if you go back to the beginning, it was President Trump who said to the Iranian people, go to the streets, help is on the way, who told the Iranian people we would have their back if they went out. And they went out and they died in large numbers.
Help is on the way.
Help is on the way was his line. Then when we started this war, we took out the supreme leader, only to see his son and a harder line group of generals take over the country who were going to be even more repressive. And then we basically came out and said, no, regime change has nothing to do with what we're trying to achieve here. And by the way, I think us trying to achieve regime change through aerial bombardment was a bad idea. But we've written that out of the story. So when President Trump says, I'm going to bomb the infrastructure and then the Iranian people are going to get freedom, he's not even trying for that. He's trying for something much more simple, which is to open the Strait of Hormuz, which was open before he started this whole thing. So there is something deeply cynical in the way that he's presented this entire operation over the course of the past month. And the Iranian people are certainly suffering as a result. So too, of course, as you said, are the American people, who are feeling it in their pocketbook at the pump every day with no end in sight.
John Lear, is the president bluffing?
The president has not decided what to do. I'm told, advisors, though, that he's not. This is on the table. He is not committed to doing
all
this.
All of this is on the table?
This is
the blowing up of infrastructure, basic infrastructure for civilians?
Yes, and in fact, I was told yesterday the Pentagon is working to sort of justify some of these targets, saying, well, this electrical plant is used by military facilities, or this here, trying to say that at least some of them would therefore escape the definition of war crime, at least what they're saying.
Who at the Pentagon is advising?
These are this. I mean, this is the Secretary of Defense. It is.
Who else?
It is his staff, and I mean, he is, of course, just purged, the Chief of Staff of the Army in recent days, and it's not.
What do I think will happen if no deal is made by the deadline? I think they're going to bomb Iran's civilian infrastructure, and I think Iran is going to retaliate by hitting Gulf states civilian infrastructure, water desalination plants, and it will create a long-term economic catastrophe. I think that's the probable outcome. I think they're going to invade with ground troops. But basically, here's the sequence of events that I think is going to happen. Donald Trump is going to attack their civilian infrastructure. Iran is going to retaliate by attacking Gulf state civilian infrastructure that they critically rely on, like desalination plants and oil production facilities and oil and gas tankers. Donald Trump is going to say the Iranians have gone mad, and he's going to say, I now need to invade their country in order to justify a ground invasion. And then they're going to do a ground invasion this weekend on April 11th. That's my prediction. Now, all of that could not happen. I hope it doesn't happen. But that's the way I am operating. I believe that to be the case. Everything is lining up for that. That's what I believe is very likely. I think we're on the precipice of a major escalation. And Donald Trump is going to use the Iranian retaliation to his war crimes as justification for a ground invasion. That's ultimately what I think is unfortunately the way we're heading. Now, maybe Donald Trump will taco Trump at the last second, and I'll be wrong. I hope he does. I hope I'm wrong. Okay? I hope everything I'm saying right now ends up not happening. That's what I believe is lining up. I believe he's lining it up so that they do this massive aerial bombardment of Iran's civilian infrastructure. Iran retaliates like they've promised to do. It causes major disruptions in the world economy, but he'll save the invasion till the weekend because for some reason he believes that the markets will calm down after 2 days of invasion. I don't know. I think we're about to enter into a unbelievably dumb period. I think Donald Trump is stupid. I think they've created an epistemic bubble. I think it is just groupthink. I think he only has people that kiss his ass. There's no one of any kind of intellect. No, he doesn't respect anybody else. This is like the Cuban Missile Crisis times 1,000. I don't think Donald Trump has the wherewithal of a gifted student in high school level AP US history. I think he may be one of the dumbest people to ever wield power in the history of the world. And legitimately, I don't know what to say. There's really no bottom. There's no bottom. And as he gets humiliated, if there's any person on the planet that has the ability to launch a nuclear weapon right now, Donald Trump is the most dangerous person. So I'm not trying to panic here. I'm just trying to say that we are in a situation that is so extremely dangerous and unhinged that it's hard to believe it's real. It's hard to believe it's real. I don't know what else to say. He wouldn't be where he is if the bourgeois class didn't want him there. Absolutely. Donald Trump is the compromise to prevent democratic socialism. That's it. And right now, what are the centrists telling you? The centrists are doing an attack on Hasan Piker. Right before we invade Iran, they are putting all their efforts into what? Attacking mild social democracy. That is what happens. Liberals ally with fascists to protect capitalism. They do it every fucking time. And the only reason liberals fought the Nazis is because they were different competing national bourgeoisies. The national bourgeoisie of America and the UK wanted to assert their preeminence over German bourgeoisie. And they waited till they were attacked in order to be involved. But it was not all capitalists are necessarily on the same side of every conflict. There's oftentimes national bourgeoisies or competing classes of capitalists that are in conflict. That's the reality that we're living in. And I don't know what else to say. I've been telling you this is what's going to happen for 7 years. I mean, you could search my tweets. Liberals will align with fascists to stop the left. I've been saying it for 7 fucking years. It's not something new. And I've been predicting that this would happen. Here's what I wrote June 14th, 2024, before Trump wins. After Trump wins, fascists will align with liberals by claiming that the left-wing resistance and protests are disrupting civility and so should be ruthlessly crushed. The day after Trump is sworn in, these liberals will suddenly find out how reasonable he is. You guys remember how they were like, Trump's right on immigration. Remember how Gavin Newsom went with Charlie Kirk and said, my son's a big fan of you, Charlie. Right now, we're about to invade Iran. Where are the Democrats? They're barely saying anything.
that General Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, his job is to create a menu of options. Right. He's not going to advocate one way or the other. So they have done that. They have created an options for the president. They have options for a ground invasion if they want it, small, which reported last week, whether it's small targeted towards Karg Island or something to try to find the uranium facilities. But this threat is on the table. Now, the president would like there to be some progress in negotiations, but at least so far, we haven't seen it.
And Richard, this is what the Wall Street Journal editorial page has this morning. Trump's ultimatum target list in Iran reads this: striking indiscriminately at critical infrastructure would be wrong as well as unwise. Punishing the Iranian people we need on our side. Regime mismanagement has already left Iran's grid in a permanent state of crisis, but such an attack would give Iranians all the suffering with none of the freedom. It would also erode support for the war at home and abroad. The obvious solution to discriminate between types of infrastructure, one yardstick by which to judge any U.S. escalation is this: in addition to increasing pressure, which may never be enough to sway Iran's regime, will it help prepare an operation to reopen Hormuz? And of course, you know, you've got to know your enemy.
Exactly.
This is a president that doesn't know his enemy. He's still looking for Delcy Rodriguez. Right. He still thinks he can intimidate. This is the most hardened group of leaders that went through a revolution in '79, went through a war with Iraq where 1 million people were killed, went through one attempt after another for attacks against Iran. They are as battle hardened as it gets. And what we have done, as Jake just said, is, we killed the Ayatollah. What did we get in the Ayatollah's place? We got the Revolutionary Guard and some really mean bastards. Like this again, not Venezuela. This is not Iraq. You know,
we lost Iraq. Why did we lose in Iraq? Because the answer to why we lost in Iraq is the Iranian-aligned militias beat our fucking ass with roadside bombs that they made in their garage. Do you understand that? They made bombs in their garage. And I want you to know something, chat. The Iranians know how to make effective weapons. They made improvised explosive devices that were so advanced that they would, when they detonated, they would penetrate armor with a shaped molten copper charge. Do you understand that they were able to defeat our armored vehicles because they were able to fashion improvised explosive devices with shaped copper charges? Let me see if I can show you this. Shaped copper IED. This is I'm pulling up some classified shit. Hold on.
But Iraq, you lop off the head of Saddam Hussein, everything falls around it. That's not going to happen here. You can blow up as many plants as you want. They don't care about the people. They don't care that the people are suffering. They haven't cared for 47 years. So making the people suffer even more tonight, I'm just saying, all that's going to do is harden them even more, get more people against America, and probably hurt the president's efforts here at home as well.
100% right. We're not going to get regime change. If anything, this strengthens the regime. We're not going to get capitulation, as you say. The one thing the Iranians are really good at is resilient. And after 5 weeks of war, if the president learned nothing else, he ought to have learned that Iran can take a punch. It's not going to get the Strait open. It's not going to help us deal with the enriched uranium. What it is going to do, if we go ahead with this, is going to get a lot of Iran's neighbors hammered. We're talking about potentially water treatment plants, energy infrastructure. No one's going to
Here it is, Chad. I found a page. Here's one from October 18th, 2006. Shape-charged IED in the Middle East. This is what defeated us. Shape-charged IEDs are not new in the Middle East insurgency wars. The IDF bomb disposal crews have uncovered what they designate as Kela-type IEDs in Lebanon and in Gaza. Activated through catapulted triggering devices, the weapon uses an improvised chemical shape-charged type between 10 to 50 kilograms that can be launched from standoff or electrical fuse from several meters distance. Other types of IED used by Hamas and Hezbollah are super heavy belly explosive devices, also frequently packing some special types of shape charged explosive to penetrate AFV hulls from the vulnerable bottom. Penetration by chemical jet stream into the fighting compartment activated catastrophic secondary explosions in unprotected internal tank ammunition stores. Israeli experts assumed that the know-how about the preparation and use of such devices was imported from Iranian demolition experts. So in other words, they have been the kings of cheap, effective, improvised weapons for decades. We lost in Iraq because of this shit, and we're gonna invade Iran?
Building data centers, and those that are there are going to get destroyed. So there's no argument for doing this. No, we got a problem, which is there's an enormous gap between what we want in a negotiated outcome, what the Iranians are putting forward. But this is not going to close that gap. No. This is not going to accomplish it. So it's not. The president did not make the case for doing this yesterday.
And I want to show you a study, chat. If you're in the military or you know someone in the military, the thing about improvised explosive devices is they frequently castrate you. When you get hit by an IED, it usually blows off your dick and balls. This is called improvised explosive device related pelvic-perineal trauma. Pelvic-perineal injuries, primarily due to blast mechanisms, are becoming the signature injury pattern on operations in Afghanistan. Whenever you see somebody who served in Afghanistan or Iraq and they've lost their legs, they also lost their dick and balls, just so you know. Now, I'm not telling you because I want you to this isn't funny. This is just reality. This is the dark reality. So if you go to Iran, it's very likely you're going to leave your balls there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that so far the Americans have not put anything on the table, Jake, that the Iranians would consider a serious negotiating plan. What they're looking for particularly is reparations for the damage that's been done and some kind of a security guarantee, a bit like the Ukrainians are looking for, that this isn't going to happen again in 6
I mean, this is, by the way, I'm not just saying this to I'm not saying this just to be edgy. Okay, here's Rand Corporation. Understanding the long-term impacts of combat, genital injury in UK male military veterans. Guys, I'm sorry. This is just how it is. Okay, you go to Iran, you're gonna get your dick and balls blown off. Okay, this is how it goes. Why do you think there's so many veteran suicides? It's a dark reality. Beneath the umbrella term combat injury are thousands of different conditions, each bringing unique experiences and challenges to the people living with them. You don't say. This includes genital injury, which for many veterans may come with challenges related to mental well-being, fertility problems, and difficulties discussing their medical issues, even with doctors. During the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan in the early 2000s, genital injuries were reported among UK and US male military personnel at record rates. Again, I am not saying this to be edgy. I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm saying this as a fact that's kept from you. If you go to Iran, your balls are gonna get blown off, okay? That's what happens. Patterns of combat genital injury have been reported after many conflicts, including World War II, Northern Ireland, and the Baltics. However, more recently, genitourinary injuries have occurred in, quote, unprecedented numbers. 13% of U.S. combat casualties between 2001 and 2013 were injured in this way, a significant increase from previous levels of 2 to 5%. So I am not saying this to be funny. I'm not saying this to be edgy. I'm saying this to educate. If you know a veteran going to Iran, you need to send them this clip. You need them to understand they're going to blow your dick off, bro. In Afghanistan and Iraq, 10% of all battlefield injuries for UK forces affected the genitourinary system. Further analysis indicated these were often polytraumatic injuries where 2 or more severe injuries occurred in the same or different parts of the body. What about these conflicts caused this increase? Both involved notable use of improvised explosive devices, which often cause a particular injury pattern involving multiple amputations, pelvic fractures, and genital perineal injuries. There were also advances in battlefield medicines. Troops in Afghanistan and Iraq often had access to rapid evacuation, tourniquet application, advanced resuscitation techniques, and multidisciplinary damage control surgery. So in other words, usually when you had this injury, you would die. But now we're able to save you so you could live on as a twisted mess without a dick. So that is the reality. Again, I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm not saying this to be edgy. I'm saying get the fuck out of the military right fucking now.
6 months' time or in 1 month's time. Do you see the makings from everything that you're reading? Do you see at this stage the makings of some kind of diplomatic plan?
Did science give you a bigger fake one? No. Actually, genital injury is where our medical technology is some of the weakest. That's why Elon Musk has a mutilated penis, because he tried to get a penis enlargement surgery and there isn't a good penile enlargement surgery technique that exists. So he went to some quack and he got his dick mutilated because the penis is an incredibly complicated organ. So like, it's not easily fixed. The corpus, what is it? It's corpus callosum. Is that what it is? I don't know, the like erectile tissue. No, that corpus callosum is the brain thing, right? Cavernosum, what is it called? Corpus cavernorum. Yeah, callosum is the brain bridge. I just had a brain worm. Sponginesum. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's the brain connector. Yeah, but it's some sort of corpus. Corpus, like, it's some specialized tissue that like doesn't exist anywhere else. So you can't fix that shit. Corpus cavernosum. Thank you, chatters. Like, you literally cannot fix that shit. So you got to be careful with your penis, man. Don't want to break that shit. Yeah, it's a 3-typed musculature, blood pumps, and sphincter muscles. Yeah, it's extremely delicate. So if you get injured to your dick, man, got to be careful with that. Protect that shit. Wear a cup.
Together during the course of today to prevent retaliation against infrastructure tonight?
Well, I spent a couple of years negotiating with the Iranians directly in the same room, sitting face to face with them. And it was difficult to negotiate when you were actually in person trying to bang out a nuclear agreement. It's that much harder to do when you're doing it indirectly through third parties, through third countries. And that's what's happening right now. I think what we're seeing in public from each side are maximalist positions. The Iranians have put forward their 10 points. We'll never agree to that. We've put forward various proposals up to and including 15 points. The Iranians will never agree to that. But my guess is that behind the scenes, messages are getting passed that are a little closer to reality on both sides. But I still think, as Richard just said, there is a very big gap. And I think the single biggest thing the Iranians are looking for is some clarity that we're not going to stop today and just start again a week, a month, or 6 months from now.
So you think they're closer together, negotiations?
My guess is that just based on the history, what gets put out publicly is typically far more expansive than what is communicated privately.
Can the Iranians, you've negotiated with the Iranians, can they be negotiated with in this sort of situation?
They could be. They're going to drive a hard bargain. And as I said, it's really difficult to do this through a game of telephone of third countries trying to pass messages. You really do have to get in a room together.
And how do the threats? How do public threats? I mean, it seems to me
exactly.
It's just the opposite. Again, if you're dealing with Venezuela, that's one thing, but it's just the opposite with the Iranians, isn't it? Don't you want to do this quietly instead of on Easter morning saying praise be to Allah with a profane tweet?
Right, exactly. You know, if you think about this regime, on the one hand, this is a revolutionary...
I'm sorry, Chad. I can't listen to Jake Sullivan talking anymore. Fuck this piece of shit. He can eat my entire fucking ass. What a scumbag. Fuck you. I can't listen to this shit anymore. I can't stand these centrist Democrats. As I've said for months and months and months, have I been proven wrong? Have I been proven wrong when I said that centrist Democrats were our enemy? When I debated Sam Cedar, was I wrong? Was I wrong when I debated Sam Cedar? Every prediction I made, was I wrong, or did I turn out to be true? Apparently, it's getting dumber.
They have till tomorrow. Now, we'll see what happens. I can tell you they're negotiating, we think, in good faith. We're going to find out. We're getting the help of some...
All right, we already saw this, chat. We don't need to see it again. Why is Trump so gay? Stop insulting gay people by it.
They came in so fast and so hard, and these guys knew exactly what to... Let's go. Come on. Get in. Let's go. Pwah. They came one right after another. Not at the same time. They don't want to come at the same time. They had to come right after each other. They didn't have any room. They came in so...
Why didn't his dad just give him like 50 million to make plays? Like, imagine if his father had just given him 50 million bucks to make plays, and he made his little Phantom of the Opera off-Broadway plays. How happy would he be? They're doing it now, centrist BS.
All right, y'all. I have to say, I am...
Okay, I gotta say this. Kyle Kulinski is right. Kyle Kulinski is 100% right. I want to react to this because it is relevant to the Iran war. It's relevant to the idea that they might nuke. I want to do a clip on this. Kyle Kulinski is absolutely right.
Completely and utterly done with Hasan derangement syndrome.
Hold on.
Let me just say,
just react to this before I leave.
As clear as I possibly can, if you are a political commentator and you have a take on Hasan Piker, do me a favor and just shut the fuck up.
Okay, I disagree with Kyle. I know Kyle's right. I get what he's putting out here, but I disagree with Kyle. If you are defending Hasan, you should absolutely speak up. You should absolutely speak up and defend Hasan, because the plan is they're trying to go after the alt-left pipeline. They're trying to go after media that is not controlled by the DNC. You absolutely should stand up and defend Hasan. I think Kyle would agree with me on that. But if he's talking to centrist cable news guys who are trying to attack Hasan, yeah, they should absolutely shut the fuck up. Honestly, though, like, I love it. Bring it on, baby. Bring it the fuck on. We need to have this fight. And the sooner we have the fight, the better. And this is what, the main disagreement that I've had with Kyle and Crystal is I support AOC. The reason why I support AOC is because of all of the possible candidates for president, she has the best policies. They like Ro Khanna. The reason they like Ro Khanna is Ro Khanna goes on their shows. Okay? And I think that AOC is fumbling by not going on these shows. I think AOC should go on these shows more. She's gone on Hasan's show a bunch, but I feel like she just recently went in on Hasan's show during the inauguration victory party for Zoran. I think that was the last time she went on the stream, right? Or did she go on again earlier? I agree. AOC needs to get all these elbows a bit sharper. And I honestly think that part of the reason why AOC has not gotten as much credit with the spaces online is because she's not seen as a source. This is a problem that I have. A lot of small streamers go after me because I don't promote them. And the reality is, and here's my truthful way I feel towards small streamers. I only support small streamers who have something to offer to the community. Meaning they actually say something or know something interesting that will make the community smarter. If you're just somebody reading off Twitter shit and you don't know anything and you have bad takes, I don't have any interest in promoting you. I only care about the people that have something of value to bring. If you have something of value to bring, I don't care if you have one follower, I will bring you up. So that's how I feel like it should go. That I should be exercising my judgment, and I will tell you which small streamers I feel like have value. For example, everybody knows that I was there on Frogan's stream day one. I'm a day one supporter. I am a founder badge, or at least I was on Frogan. I'm a founder badge on Live Agar, right? You will know that I've been a subscriber of VO for 7 fucking years at this point. I am there supporting those people from day one. Okay. What I see, I don't care if somebody has 10 followers or 10 viewers. If I think that you have a unique perspective, you have knowledge, Frogan, I like Frogan because she is a trained public health expert. She knows what she's talking about. She went to Johns Hopkins, I think. She's a very intelligent person. So I have supported Frogan because of that, right? The brain domain. Another example. Joshua got a master's degree in psychology. He is a mental health professional. He knows what he's fucking talking about. He's intelligent. Liv Agar is a philosopher. She knows what she's fucking talking about. You know what I mean? These are incredibly, I like the incredibly intelligent people. That's who I want to promote. I don't care if they have 10 viewers, okay? And they're actually entertaining as well as smart. AOC, but the problem is that with AOC, and the reason why I brought that up is because AOC needs to connect herself more with these movements, more with these spaces. One, it will help them get more legitimacy. If AOC is going on your show, you are more legitimate. Number one, she's sharing her legitimacy with you. And two, it's going to shape them to be a little bit more, give her the benefit of the doubt a little bit more, instead of just immediately going after her with everything they've got, because they don't have any stake. So I feel like it's part of her problem is she has not gone on these spaces, which has incentivized people to be a little bit more unhinged. Do you know anywhere I could read up on China's renewable energy policies in specificity? I mean, it's pretty much covered in Carbon Brief is a good example where they talk about it, but it's really covered everywhere because it is by far and away the best. Caroline is another great example of someone who's awesome, but Caroline's a huge streamer, so it's not like I'm promoting them or anything. Mods, we have some weirdos. What happened? Is somebody mad? Struggle 4 is cool.
I don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. We shouldn't even be having this conversation. This hopefully will be the last time I have to fucking address this, but I am so sick. We're living in a world where Donald Trump is waging an illegal and offensive war against Iran. The outline of World War III is there for shit sure. Anybody with a functioning brain can see it. China, Russia, Iran versus us and Israel, with a hesitant Europe to fucking take a side. Even the Gulf Arab states now are hesitant to sort of take a side. You see the outlines there.
The reason why the Gulf Arabs are hesitant to take a side is because their people hate Israel and they can see the genocide of Arabs that is happening. Like, if you're Saudi Arabia and you ally with Israel, your government might collapse from a fucking revolution. They just want to sell oil and live their hedonistic lifestyles. The princes of Saudi Arabia just want to go out and live hedonistic lifestyles and buy 8 Lamborghinis. They don't have any interest whatsoever in fighting for Israel.
The Strait of Hormuz is shut down. Gas is absolutely skyrocketing. Our AI bubble is about to burst seemingly any minute. We have a looming fucking global depression that's about to hit. We have war crime after war crime after war crime being committed on a daily basis. We have fears of a Moab or nukes about to be used in Iran. They're attacking hospitals. They're attacking schools. Israel is stealing South Lebanon right now as we speak. They displaced 1.1 million people. They're bulldozing their homes. They're seizing their land. All this shit is going on. And we're supposed to have a fucking conversation about Hasan Piker. Did you guys see that in 2019, he said this thing, which was really politically incorrect and rude? I don't give a fuck if he was having sex with your grandma in 2019 or 2012. I don't give a fuck. Why are we having this conversation? Why are we talking about him? And so we really had Hasan derangement syndrome hit a peak recently.
It's okay. The thing is, it's not about the things that he said. It's about his policies. Hasan Piker represents a pathway to power. It's about building our own independent infrastructure where we don't have to tail centrist Democrats, where we don't have to go on MSNBC in unfriendly territory. We have our own friendly territory that has thousands upon thousands of people that could raise real money, that could create our own narratives, that is outside the control of the Democratic Party. That is what they're trying to destroy. And it's the attacks on Hasan are not just trying to destroy Hasan's community. It's to try to create risk for anybody who goes on Hasan. So now every politician has to weigh whether they're willing to take the risk of going on Hasan. That's the point. It's to smear shit on Hasan, to try to undermine marginal voices who may or may not go on Hasan's stream, progressive voices that are maybe hesitant or not as left-wing as Hasan, but see how important his audience is. That is what they're trying to disrupt. It's not just about Hasan the guy. It's about destroying the left-wing space online so that the only place people have is DNC-approved outlets. That's why they're creating chorus creators. And what did the chorus creators do? The first thing the chorus creators did is slander Hasan. What did the chorus creators do? They slander me. What did the chorus creators do? They slander Kyle. That's because they're trying to create a DNC, MSNBC clone, but on social media. And that's what it's about. It's not just about, that's why you have to defend Hasan. That's why you have to support me. That's why you have to support Kyle and everybody else these people slander. Why? Because it's about building our own independent infrastructure and it's fucking working. I raised $26,000 for Oliver Larkin in one stream. He's challenging one of the biggest Zionists in America. They can see it. They can see Oliver Larkin goes on my stream, he goes on Hasan's stream, and he raises $100,000 fucking dollars. Now suddenly that's a real campaign. Now the voters are listening to Oliver Larkin. Before he would have been dismissed as irrelevant. Oh, that's a DSA radical. Who gives a shit? We don't have to pay attention to him. The local media wouldn't cover him. He would be desperately buried and there would be no way for him to win. But now with Hasan, now with these alternative media places, we could actually take on one of the biggest Zionists in America. We could build up a progressive in a blue seat, a socialist in a blue seat. They're fucking scared. And it's only beginning. I feel like you guys don't have the motion. You need a high percent to have any impact, and you just don't have the numbers, bud. What? The fuck are you talking about, man? I brought a candidate on my stream for governor of Wisconsin, and now they're leading in the polls. They haven't even been on Hasan yet. And I'm not saying it's just me. Those are part of a group of state representatives in Wisconsin that I have been helping for 5 years, the sewer socialists of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I have helped them win multiple state legislative seats. I've helped them win multiple countywide seats in Milwaukee County. I've literally helped build them up. Now, they did the hard work. I'm not taking all the credit. I'm just a small part of the ecosystem. They put in the boot. They walked their shoes off their feet, okay? They worked their asses off. They showed up day in and day out in their local community. But we are building something. Zoran Mamdani was at like 5% when Hasan brought him onto his stream. And it helped inject a whole bunch of more energy, enthusiasm, money. And that was part of DSA. And DSA has been built up because of AOC. And AOC was on Hasan's stream in 2020. We have been building upon this ecosystem. It's not just about any one person. It's about an ecosystem. It's about an entire group of people creating an alternative. It's not one guy. It's never about one guy.
Because on the Bulwark, the network, the Bulwark, we had Tim Miller, who, to his credit, he came out and I think he had the proper take. He was basically saying, like,
you guys are amazing.
Why the fuck are we talking about Hasan? There's an illegal war of aggression going on, and Donald Trump's a psychopath. He's demented. He's going to basically drag us all to hell. Like, he's destroyed the country completely. He's working on destroying the world. Let's grow up here and move the fuck on. Let's not talk about Hasan. So Tim Miller comes out and says that. Well, you have a right-wing Democrat, a diet MAGA Democrat, as I call them, Sarah Longwell. She was one of the founders of the Bulwark, I believe, and she was mad at Tim Miller, and she goes, well, we got to have this conversation on air because I don't agree with you. What followed was just one of the most frustrating conversations I think I've ever seen. So let me show you a little snippet here. Here's what she said.
It's like, what? We're picking this fight with him now? I'm just like, I could think of 1,000 other things I would rather Democrats pick fights about now. Like, why him right now?
Because he's making their life harder. It is people like
making their life harder by winning elections against centrist Democrats like Andrew Cuomo. Again, she said she would vote for Ted Cruz over Zoran Mamdani. Zoran Mamdani has been the most effective new elected Democrat in the entire country.
Hold on. People like Hasan are making Democrats who want to take a stand against this war, right? And who want to probably take a stand against the way that Trump is just sort of like, you know, doing whatever Bibi tells him. They're trying to figure out how to do it in a way where they don't imperil the safety of Jewish people in this country. They're trying to do it in a way that is, they don't want to be anti-Semitic.
There is no imperilment of Jewish people by Hasan Piker or myself. We abhor anti-Semitism. We fight anti-Semitism. None of my audience is anti-Semitic, because if you're anti-Semitic, you get banned. This is just outright lies. And of course it is, because they can't argue the merits of the case. So they have to go on smears and slanders. You want to do smears and slanders, Sarah Longwell? I've got way more smears and slanders about you than you have about me. Let's talk about who you are. You want to do smears and slanders. The reason why Tim Miller doesn't like me is I pointed out that he is a Jeb Bush's communication director. The worst campaign in American history. The least effective dollars for votes campaign in American history was the Jeb Bush campaign. The worst campaign in American history.
And I'll tell you why Hasan is so dangerous is that what it does is it's exactly what Trump does. It's exactly what Nick Fuentes does and Tucker does. It takes maybe legitimate rage about something, and then it gives them an enemy to put it on. It gives them an outgroup to blame for it. And
the
I think
outgroup are Zionists. Zionism is an ideology. It's not a religion. It is a belief in ethnic supremacy and apartheid. Jewishness and Zionism are not one and the same. That's anti-Semitic of you to say that.
You have to be so careful with that so that you're not doing that, which starts with condemning the people who hold the same position as you for reasons that are bad, for reasons that are hostile to Jews.
Here's where I disagree. Totally disagree. It starts with condemning the fucking war and condemning Israel and condemning Bibi and condemning Trump and being passionate and clear about it. Because then what happens? Then, if you have the credibility then with the voters who were anti-war voters, who were unhappy about the way that they see the bipartisan establishment. They thought Trump was going to be their savior from this, that there was this some blob in D.C. and no matter which party is in charge, we all get into stupid wars. They thought Trump was their way out of this. And now they're like, Trump's doing the same shit that all the other ones did that we said we didn't want it. He's doing it worse.
The reason why voters think that is because of you fucking dipshit. And by the way, I posted this yesterday because I want you guys to understand who these people are and why it's so important that Kyle is right. Let me show you who the fuck these people are. The moment Kamala Harris lost the election was when she associated with these people. This is what they were saying April 4th. This is what they were saying right after the DNC. Are you ready?
But here was the thing about the cheering that I loved. Speaking of Stonewall, but also I think it's amazing when you get 75,000 presumably libs on the ellipse. And she's like, we're going to have the most lethal fighting force. And people are like, yeah. And she's like, and we're going to secure the border. And people are like, yeah. And I was just like, this is, and she's, you know, we are going to be leaders in the world. And we're not going to let these guys push us around. And I was like, man, the world's really changed.
Did the neocons just take over the Democratic Party?
Don't say that.
Yeah, don't say it. But I will say she is, look, man, she's leaning into, I'm going mainstream. And, whenever she does, there's a couple, price gouging or whatever. I'm like, boo. But like.
So the one left-wing policy, after we had record inflation, and it was proved to be corporate price gouging. It wasn't due to like shortages. It wasn't due to anything. It was proved to be corporate collusion and corporate price gouging. It was proven, economically proven, factually proven, empirically proven. The one policy she had that was throwing a bone to the left was, oh, I'm not going to let them do more price gouging going forward. And these people booed that. These are the people that Kamala Harris listened to. And these are the people who castrated Walz. When Walz was picked, I thought, oh my God, maybe they're actually learning a lesson. Because he was saying we should listen to the uncommitted people and their concerns about Palestine. He was saying, oh, those Republicans are fucking weirdos. Why are they talking about trans people? Why are they obsessed with trans kids' genitals? That's fucking weird. Why are they proposing laws to inspect kids' genitals? That's fucking weird. And that was a winning message. And these people castrated Tim Walz and turned him into, I'd order nukes on Iran guy.
I also just, whatever. But here was the thing about the cheering that I loved.
So that's when the Democratic Party lost the 2024 election, is when these people, they were giggling to each other about how the neocons had taken over the Democratic Party. That was the moment they lost the election. That was it.
And so now if the Democrats go to those people and go on those
AIPAC defending Sarah Longwell. If you were cashing Coke checks in 2022, I don't think you have standing to nitpick a streamer's comments from like a decade ago. You hosted Quincy Institute Trisha Parsi on Dropside News less than a month ago, funded by the same group in 2026. If somebody is supporting our positions, then there's no compromise. If somebody on the right is supporting the left-wing position, then them coming and talking to us about why we're right is not a compromise. However, if somebody who's a right-winger pushing right-wing positions is taking money from right-wing groups, then it's relevant, you dumb fucking AIPAC Nazis.
They should be on those shows. Democrats should be begging Joe Rogan or Theo, whoever, to have them on right now. They should be on Manosphere shows being like, I told you, this was stupid. I didn't want to do this. This war is dumb. Our relationship with Israel is too tight. We should be reevaluating it. We should not be getting dog walked into this war. By the way, MBS also sucks, right? Like, you can do that in a way that's not anti-Semitic because it's what has happened.
He's right that the same fucking people who basically were like, oh, we messed up by not treating Joe Rogan like a special little baby bird and going on his show and explaining things to him like he's 3 years old. They're now in retrospect, they go, oh, we should have been open to the podcasters and the brosphere. Why wouldn't we be open to them? We're so dumb. That's how you gain the voters. You go where they are. He's got a lot of people listening. We should have went over there. Those same people are now shunning the left-wing Joe Rogan. They're going, oh, I'm going to cancel him. I don't like him. He needs to shut up and never say anything I don't like, ever. And let me quote the worst things he ever said, but out of context, and make him sound like an absolute fucking maniac. Even though anybody who watches his show for one fucking day or two can immediately tell you that the way they try to portray him is psychotically inaccurate. To the point where they're lying. They are lying the way that they portray this man. So, Sean says, my main takeaway from this was the revelation that Sarah has a book coming out on how to defeat MAGA when Kamala lost following her exact game plan down to campaigning with Liz Cheney. Tim Miller is the only never-Trumper who has actually truly thought about what happened in 2024. That's fucking incredible. So Sarah Longwell supported the idea of campaigning with Liz Cheney. Now she has the nerve to police the boundaries and the borders of the Democratic coalition. How about you go to shut the fuck upsville? How about that? How about you were dead wrong about everything? Kamala came out the gates hot as a motherfucker when her and Tim Walz were doing the rallies and Tim Walz was making jokes about J.D. Vance, having sex with couches, and they were talking about how we're going to ban price gouging for groceries, and they came out hot and aggressive, and they went left. And at that moment, polls came out that had her up 6 points on Donald Trump. Then as soon as the Biden people infiltrated and the never-Trumpers infiltrated, and what happened? Oh, they softened the rhetoric. She stopped talking about the banning of price gouging on groceries. She started talking about having the most lethal military in the world. She had on, she was out there with Liz Cheney all the time, which, by the way, netted her fucking 0 voters, probably lost more voters Like, for fuck's sake, hello, this is the Democratic Party. Most of us lived through the fucking Bush years and we saw the horrors and we hated the fucking neocon warmongers. And your brilliant idea was to bring a neocon warmonger and say, I'm with these people who you fucking hate. And so the fact that she has the nerve to go out there and like she's policing it. Bitch, you got here yesterday. Like, you got to the coalition yesterday. Are you kidding me? Okay.
They're not part of the coalition, Kyle. They only want to be part of the Democratic Party if they could turn it into a MAGA light party. That's why working with them is pointless. That's why supporting places like the Bulwark are pointless, because they are going to stab the back of AOC. If AOC were to win the primary fair and square, these people would be fleeing to the Republicans. They left the Republican Party because of Trump. When Trump is gone, when the personality of Trump is gone, these people are going to return to their intellectual home, which is the Republican Party. And they will do whatever fucking cope they need to do to justify it. So these people are not even useful. They're not even useful for opposing Trump, because Trump's not going to run for president again. Trump is a lame fucking duck. In 6 months, Donald Trump is a lame fucking duck. So these people are only going to exist in the Democratic Party to do what? Gin up infighting and throw shit on the left. And when I say left, I'm not talking about the communists. I'm not talking about the far left. I'm talking about mild social democracy like AOC and Zohran Mamdani. Let's be completely honest about what these people are. They are not some far lefties, okay? They are, well, can we raise taxes on the trillionaires to like maybe make sure kids don't starve? That's not far left. That's called common fucking sense. And these people have said, does anyone have the clip of Sarah Longwell saying she'd vote for Ted Cruz over Zohran Mamdani? That tells you everything you need to know. These people need to be thrown out yesterday. Can someone link me that, please?
We also have this. It's Politics says, and people wonder why some never-Trump Republicans are not the best allies. Listen to Sarah Longwell. She came yesterday to the Democratic Party, and maybe she doesn't agree with the majority of positions of the base, like Medicare for all, taxing the rich, and decoupling from Israel, but she gets to pick and choose what people are in the tent. Get the fuck out of here. So here's another clip that went viral. Here we go.
Should he be in the tent or out of the tent is a question of like, okay, who is this guy? What does he believe? What does he talk about on what is a relatively popular streaming site? And I'll just give you a flavor of some of the
Here come the smears. Here come the out of context quotes. Let's get it.
Things that pop up from Hasan's critics that I have seen and that I think are quite terrible. So America deserved 9/11, dude.
It's the CIA concept of fucking blowback.
Okay, here we go, chat. I found it myself. I got you.
Zohran, Cuomo, Tucker, and Ted Cruz.
Cuomo, Cruz, Zohran, Tucker.
Wow.
What's so funny about that? What's so funny about that? Ted Cruz is even more vile than Donald Trump. And she said she would vote for Ted Cruz, one of the most right-wing Republicans in the entire country, who's behind Trump every step of the way, over Zohran Mamdani, the most exciting and pragmatic young Democrat in the entire country, who not only is making government work better, is taking his job seriously. But that's what she hates about it. She hates the fact that he's out there fixing shit. That's what she hates. She hates the fact that Zohran is telling people that maybe that the government can take care of stuff, because she's ideologically opposed to that. She wants us to privatize everything, corporatize everything. And Zohran Mamdani is about building a government that works for the regular people. She hates the fact that Zohran Mamdani is doing stuff like this.
Well, Mayor Mamdani says the city has repaired 100,000 potholes across the boroughs. He was joined by the city's Department of Transportation on Staten Island and grabbed a shovel to help make the 100th repair, or 100,000th repair. It's part of the mayor's pothole repair blitz campaign. And he says over 3 days, they have fixed more than 22,000 potholes. New Yorkers are asked to call 311 to report potholes in need of repair.
I got the 100,000.
This is actually the worst equipment I've ever seen. I thought PennDOT had bad equipment. The city of New York is using, oh my fucking God, their equipment is trash. That's insane.
Repair.
I got the 100,001 pothole if they're interested, if they want to keep going. There's a couple still out there.
In your neck of the woods?
Yeah, well, a little of everywhere. I mean, you see it especially in the Bronx coming down the west side. So
oh, yeah.
Good luck, yeah.
I've hit one or two, you know, going home at night. You don't see them.
Yeah, but then you complain when they're fixing them later. Oh, I'm stuck in traffic, so can't win.
No, no.
So they love the fact, like Zohran Mamdani, and by the way, call 311. Tell them, report the potholes, like objectively. They hate that Zohran Mamdani is just effective at his job. They fucking hate that. And that's why, Kyle, they're not part of the coalition.
Is what he's talking about. No, he's not pro Al Qaeda, pro Osama bin Laden, pro terrorist attack against civilians in the United States. And the only reason why you're implying that's the case is because you're an Islamophobic hag bitch. His name is Hasan, so you think you can get away with a quick one by pretending he's pro-terrorism. No, in fact, on his show, he talks out against terrorism daily. Okay, this is why he covers the genocide in Gaza, where they're murking civilians on a daily basis, because he's anti-terrorism. He doesn't want any harm to be done to any fucking civilians. And the fact that you didn't realize he's referring to the CIA concept of blowback says everything about you and fucking nothing about him. Jesus Christ.
On China, he says, we hyper-focus on the social repression or the civil liberties, or not even civil liberties necessarily, but free speech and things like that. But in terms of good governance, there's a lot we can learn from the way they perform out there. At least they...
That's just literally factually correct. That's like not even arguable. That's not even debatable. They have all these fucking beautiful high-speed trains where they built out all of the infrastructure since like 2008 until today.
And just to back Kyle up, look at this. Since 2008, China has built 50,000 kilometers of high-speed rail. That's enough to crisscross America more than 10 times from coast to coast. Like, look at that. We're supposedly the richest country in the world, and we can't build one railroad from San Francisco to LA. And there are literally hundreds of flights from San Francisco to LA every day. Hundreds of flights. Thank you.
It's a fucking modern marvel of engineering. It's phenomenal. That's the shit he's talking about. Hey, look at the high-speed trains. Look at the state-of-the-art airports. Look at how their mid-level cities now mog the shit out of our fucking top-level cities. That's what he's talking about. You're trying to make some banal, factual observation, like controversial and unacceptable.
Also, they're not causing wars all over the world. They're not invading a bunch of countries all over the world. That's something to consider, right? Like, they're building up their country by doing what? Trading with people, not invading them, not fighting them, not bombing them. They're focusing their money on investing at home. They're building renewable energy. They're building high-speed rail. They're building electric vehicles. They're building solar panels and wind farms and hydroelectric dams and nuclear power plants. They're taking the problems of their society seriously. Is it the best society ever in history? Not yet, but they certainly seem to be moving in that direction. So whether or not you can disagree with the form their government has, you can't disagree with the results, which is they're improving the lives of their people every year. You feel the same way?
This is the sort of cancel culture bullshit that all you idiots said you would stop doing after the 2024 election, and yet here we are.
And he has a lot of very pro-China takes.
Oh, he's able to call a spade a spade? Don't you know we're supposed to shut our brains off and say and everything ever about China is evil and wrong and bad?
There's one that he says was a little bit taken out of context, but he says, doesn't matter if the fucking rapes happened on October 7th.
When you admit before you do the smear that, well, this one's out of context. How did you let those words come out of your mouth? Oh, my days. How did you let that escape your mouth? Well, I know this one's like a smear and it's totally out of context, but I'm going to try it anyway. Oh, my God. His point was that wouldn't justify a genocide, even if there were rapes on October 7th. That doesn't then justify carpet bombing babies. That doesn't justify murdering untold numbers of civilians, shooting people who wave white flags, starving people to death, bombing World Central Kitchen workers and hospitals and schools. Okay? That is the most banal observation I think I've ever heard. Like, who would say, oh, if a bad thing happens here, you're allowed to genocide them back? No, that's not a thing. That was his point. I don't know why, like, again, people, they clip chimp and clip farm and think like, oh, this is going to get him. It's not going to fucking get him. And again, all you have to do, and I'm not even kidding about this, watch one day of Hasan's stream, 2 at most, and you'll walk away going, oh, they've been lying about literally everything about this man the entire time. Like, they're just lying. They're just lying.
That's the point of the lies. The point of the lies are that you shut your ears. You know, I talk about Greeks and rhetoric, and it's all about undermining ethos. It is a logical fallacy known as poisoning the well. You're never going to draw a cup out of a well that you know is poison. So if you throw shit on somebody like myself, you say I'm anti-Semitic, racist, whatever the fuck bullshit you're going to say next, Same thing about Hasan. He's misogynistic and anti-Semitic. That shit causes people not to listen to me. My biggest haters, whenever I see someone as an unhinged hater of me, I always try to figure out why. And I got to tell you, usually they've never been in my stream, not even one time. They've never put a message. They have never followed me. They've never participated in my community. They have never actually listened to me or interacted with me in any way. And yet they will be dedicated haters of me. It's fucking weird, bro. Somehow they became fixated on me, even though they've never interacted or understood where I come from. It's fucking weird.
Believes. I've seen enough of him talk. I don't need you to take these out of fucking context clips and play the gotcha game and you think that that's going to change my opinion on what I've seen with my own two fucking eyes.
That doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much. So that's the other part of this problem that many people can't contend with. Like
I don't think that Americans should be genocided because American men have committed millions of rapes. That's just a fact that American men have gone out and committed millions of rapes. Does that mean that all Americans should be genocided? And that is the reality. Every culture commits rape nonstop because we live in a misogynistic rape culture globally where women are treated and abused on a regular. That is a current fact of our life. That's why feminism is so important, because we have to liberate women from the oppression of patriarchy. But you don't liberate women by committing whole-scale genocide and doing collective punishment on the entire people. It's ridiculous. The fact that I just said something, American men commit millions of rapes, has that sentence ever been uttered? Have you ever heard that uttered? But it's a factual statement, and it's a striking statement.
Palestinian resistance is not perfect. They're not like so good. They have magical bullets. I don't know what that means. He says Hamas is 1,000 times better than Israel.
Literally, he's talking about math. How many people died on October 7th? Like, what, 2,000? And what's the minimum number they talk about now on how many are dead in Gaza? 70,000, 80,000? In reality, I think it's like at least 200,000, by the way, for the record. That's what I think it is, at least 200,000. But let's go with the low number of like 70,000. It's a mathematical reality that 70,000 innocent people being murdered by the Israeli government is a much higher number than about 2,000 being killed by Hamas on October 7th. That's the point. Are you now going to proceed to argue against math? Is that what you're going to do? Please try. Let me see how that works out for you.
On Hezbollah, he said, overall, what's my favorite flag? Hezbollah. Look it up. I'm not even kidding. It's actually a dope flag. It's got an AK on it and a fucking hand holding it.
Tim Miller is laughing. Why? Because when you talk about something like this, it's literally just how a flag looks. That's a fucking joke, okay? And that's why Tim Miller is laughing. Again, what? Like, they're trying so fucking hard and they're getting absolutely nothing. And by the way, don't take Hasan's word for it. There was an article that came out in the Telegraph, which they deleted because it got a little too close to the truth. And in that article, they spoke to Christians in Lebanon who were like, oh yeah, we got no problem with Hezbollah. They protect us from the psychotic Israelis. They thought we're going to go talk to the Christians in Lebanon, and they're all going to say Hezbollah's evil and wrong, and they're bad, and they're terrorists, and they're rapists, and they're this, and they're that. And they were like, oh no, they actually protect us from the Israelis, and they do Christmas celebrations, and they put up a Christmas tree, and they're all very nice to us. Like, again, like, I know that sort of the whole thing about being a right-winger is that you're a fucking idiot and you're incredibly ignorant about the world. But this is really something. You think you're in the Democratic tent and this is how you talk? You think you're in the Democratic tent? Please.
On Dan Crenshaw losing an eye in Afghanistan. What the fuck is wrong with this dude? I also dislike Dan Crenshaw, but I would not say this. Didn't he go to war and like literally lose his eye because of some mujahideen, a brave fucking soldier, fucked his eye hole with their dick?
All right, y'all. New Kyle rule. You're allowed to say whatever the fuck you want to say.
Honestly, I would love to show people that clip. It was that elfin little... By the way, he was so unpopular, he just lost a Republican primary. So Dan Crenshaw, the neocon, lost a Republican primary. He's got so little motion. And you're dying on the hill of Dan Crenshaw defense. Meanwhile, he loves the war in Iran. He loves the war in Israel. They're mad that Hasan made fun of Dan Crenshaw because they are Dan Crenshaw. I live near PA. Could I ever help you out with your campaigns? Depends on where you're at.
About how evil Republican politicians are. There are literally no lines when joking about how evil Republican politicians are. And if you have a problem with it, there's this little thing called free speech that I'm going to introduce you to. And by the way, as you're about to see here, Tim Miller is laughing at this one as well.
Because of some mujahideen, a brave fucking soldier, fucked his eye hole with their dick. On Israel being full of inbreds.
This is supposed to make people not like him? This is supposed to make people not like him. Oh my God. This next one too. This is another sad attempt at a guy. You ready?
You are left with a country that is packed to the fucking gills with the most inbred, uneducated, ultra-nationalist, rabid, Haredi population. On Russia's annexation.
Okay, so he's talking about the ultra-Orthodox, right? This is another Kyle rule. Sorry if this one offends people out there. You are allowed to joke around about how stupid and evil every single fundamentalist religious group is. No, you're not going to push us into the corner. You're not allowed to say that. I will say whatever the fuck I want about fundamentalist Christians and fundamentalist Muslims and fundamentalist Jews. Fundamentalists are fucking weird, dog. They're weird. They're fucked up. They're strange. They dress funny. They smell. There's a whole lot of... All the fundamentalists of all the different religions are fucking creepy. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. I'm secular, bro. I'm secular. People can live however they want to live, but I'm allowed to have opinions about that. And I'm allowed to joke about that. And that's what Hasan was doing when he was calling them inbred. Okay? Like, again, I'm so sick of the fake outrage. I'm so fucking sick of it. Where we have a demented president, likely has Alzheimer's, who's this close to nuking an entire country of 90 million people. And we're supposed to talk about Hasan Piker's jokes and be outraged? I can't, bro.
Annexation of Crimea was absolutely a justifiable annexation. What do you call Crimea? I call it part of Russian territory, bitch. I call it Crimea River, a Russian river. The annexation of...
Look, by the way, the Crimean invasion happened under Obama. The Crimean, like, if you want to complain about anybody, it's Obama. Blame Obama. Like, oh wait, we're not going to blame Obama for that? We're recognizing that maybe there was some complications there. It's because Hillary Clinton and Obama knew they did a coup in Ukraine. And they knew they were doing a dirty little coup, so they didn't want to make a big deal out of it and escalate the situation. So they let Russia take Crimea because they knew they were doing a little coup. It's the insult. It's not the insulting that I want to hear. It's the context.
Embassies, diplomacy, exact same thing as military bases. I can't do this. I can't do this. This guy has the understanding of foreign policy of like a 12-year-old. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with this dude? Didn't he go to war and like literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave fucking soldier?
No, I want to hear the context of what he was saying, not Hasan insulting him, which I don't know if the context still exists. But yes, I know the brave mujahideen. Yes, I know what he said. I know what he said.
Joking. Now, to be fair, he absolutely was incorrect with his prediction of what would happen. He thought that Russia was not going to invade Ukraine, which he was wrong, by the way. Pat myself on the back on that one. I kind of thought they were. I didn't understand why people were going out on a limb and saying, like, they're not going to invade. Well, then why are they doing the troop buildup on the border, right? So I think he was factually wrong about that. He would admit he was factually wrong about that. But this just sort of sounds like jokes. And I think at this point, Hasan, if you were to ask him, I think he would say, no, Ukraine has every right to defend themselves. And Ukraine, in this instance, are the victims. And Russia is the imperialist aggressor. I think he would admit this because it's true, right? It's true. In this scenario, like, Russia is Israel and Ukraine are the Palestinians. And so if you support fighting oppression, you would back the Ukrainians, right?
Black people care about the border. I don't give a fuck what black people care about. Black people care about this. Black people care about
this. Is like completely out of context. If my memory serves me right, he was going after Black MAGA, being like, oh, I don't care what, because there's some black people who are
exactly. Hasan was saying that just because someone's black doesn't mean that you can't criticize them. And he was, I think he was specifically talking about either Diamond and Silk or like Candace Owens or something. So you're lying and being like, oh, Hasan says he doesn't care about black people. He was saying the argument of a black person says this, therefore you can't debate with it or else you're a racist is bad faith and ridiculous. And he doesn't give a shit about that argument. And again, all these clips were taken out of context by Destiny. That's what makes this so funny. These are all out of context clips from Destiny. And the context was deliberately obliterated. And these people are repeating Destiny clips. They're so desperate. And by the way, I want you to understand something. This is actually a sign that we're winning. It's a sign that we're winning because Hasan is getting so powerful that everybody who's opposed to us ideologically is desperately grasping at straws. So they are debasing themselves by associating themselves with Destiny. They are drawing on any anti-Hasan string they can. And ultimately, Destiny doesn't have the motion. He doesn't have grassroots support. People do not support Destiny because of his takes. They just don't, man. He's not grabbing people because of his positions. All right? He has a cult. And it is closed. It's only useful as a attack dog for ideologically opposed members of against Hasan. but he himself has no motion. Inherently, he has no motion. He's not drawing people in. He is alienating people. And the more you lean on destiny, the more of a sign that your movement is failing and you're desperate for any mercenary help you can get.
Right wingers, that's supposed to like stop me from opposing them. Like, fuck that. I don't care what these black people think of it. That's what he meant. And again, she's trying to frame it like he's racist against all black people. It's just, this is so try hard.
That like, shut the fuck up. That's not how politics work. And then I don't know if this is I'm not going to rank these, but this one's a real doozy. Date rape is better if it happens to rich women. If you have these fucking millionaire, billionaire, wasp fail sons, at least taking them out of other colleges so they can only do date rape to other billionaire, millionaire failed daughters is in some respects, from a utilitarian perspective.
By the way, he was talking about rich people sending their kids to private boarding schools and then fighting against Me Too. That's what he was talking about. An effort of the rich right to fight against Me Too. Now, I don't know about Tim's record. I know about the Lincoln Project. I don't know if Tim was involved with the Lincoln Project and them sending a bunch of sexually explicit grooming messages to underage interns. So I don't know if that's also in the Bulwark or if that's only the Lincoln Project of other all his friends at the other neocon group. I think the reason they started the Bulwark is because the Lincoln Project was falling apart from all the pedophile scandals, right? Wow, I can't believe the Epstein class is associated with pedophiles. What do you know? Specifically, it was a response to the anti-cancellation of that rich white guy who raped a girl but got off scot-free. Yeah. I mean, these people are fucking disgusting.
I like how Tim Miller's just taking this all in.
Of course, a little bit better. Okay, Piker told off a listener who condemned the massacre on October 7th, a bloodthirsty, violent pig dog suck my dick. Okay, so that's the guy. That's the guy.
YouTube banger. More bangers.
I do not think any Democrat should look to include him in their coalition. And here's the thing. You mentioned my book at the top. I just wrote a whole book that is going to come out in September. It is 300 pages. It's called How to Eat an Elephant One Voter at a Time. It is 300 pages about how you build a winning coalition.
You gave Kamala bad advice. You are the last person we should listen to.
That recommends cozying up to people like Hasan Piker. I talk a lot about big tents. I talk a lot about pro-democracy coalition. But here's the thing. Hasan Piker doesn't actually belong in the pro-democracy coalition.
She's doing the takfir. You're not a real Democrat. When she came yesterday to this party.
Illiberal guy. He's a China, Russia sympathizer who hates women, hates Israel. Like, he's all the toxic things. And I was listening to you last night, and I was like my biggest problem with it, because I agree with you in some places, my biggest problem is I felt like you were soft selling who this guy is.
No, you're smearing him and you're lying about him. Now, finally, let's get to the heart of the...
Also, this is why I've been anti these people from the beginning. I disagreed. The reason why I was against Cam Kamsky or whatever that fucking guy is, the guy who ran for Congress for 5 minutes and then dropped out, who's a Bulwark guy, and I didn't like him. Remember that chat? And I was like, the Bulwark sucks. Fuck the Bulwark. If he's with the Bulwark, I don't trust him. Remember that? And everybody was like, Mike, you're being too harsh on them again. Oh, I was right again. I've been anti-Bulwark for years at this point. I kept making fun of these people. Here's me on April 1st. Fuck you, Zionists. You've probably seen these track AIPAC graphics that show which members of Congress are on the take from pro-Israel organizations and lobbyists. Joe Perticone breaks down their methodology, why it doesn't make any sense, and why you shouldn't pay any attention to them. They're trying to attack track AIPAC. Let me see if I have Tim Miller. Let me see if I have some Tim Miller takes. That fucking dipshit. Okay, hold on. Tim Miller is a coward who blocked me because I pointed out that he was the communication for Jeb Bush's 2016 presidential campaign, considered one of the least successful presidential campaigns in history. We don't want these neocons in the party. Get out. Let me just search Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush's 2016 communication director is now one of the leading messaging experts for the centrist Democrats. That tells you everything you need to know. So he brought on Destiny, but he blocked me for pointing out his resume. Think about that for a second. I pointed out this motherfucker's resume and he ran away like a bitch into Destiny's arms.
Matter here, the real truth of the situation. This is what Sarah Longwell really believes. Here we go.
But here's the thing about the cheering that I loved. Speaking of Stonewall, but also...
I should point out, this was just before the election, right before the election, okay?
So I think it's amazing when you get 75,000 presumably libs on the ellipse, and she's like, we're going to have the most lethal fighting force. And people are like, yeah.
So she loves it when Kamala sounds
Kyle
more
already
like a
showed this clip.
warmonger than
Okay,
Trump. That's what
Ace.
she's describing here. So presumably,
Ace, Kyle.
It stands to logical deduction.
By the way, chat, unsubscribe from the Bulwark. Like, what are you fucking doing? If you're a Hasan or Mike fan and you're subscribed to the Bulwark, slap yourself in the fucking face. Get your shit together. Jesus fucking Christ. Go unsubscribe from that garbage if you ever subscribed. My God.
She would hate it if Kamala was out there like, I'm anti-war. We're not going to go to war with Iran, right? We're not going to, keep arming and funding Israel as they do a genocide. I'm against war.
AOC just with the most based post in history. Holy shit. This is a threat of genocide and merits removal from office. The president's mental faculties are collapsing and can't be trusted. To every individual under the president's chain of command, you have a duty to refuse illegal orders. That includes carrying out this threat. What a fucking queen. What a fucking queen. Based. Already at 17K likes, by the way. I think a lot of people that have... They've criticized AOC a lot. And again, she's done things that I don't agree with, especially in messaging. I think AOC, unironically, I think that if she just stopped trying to appeal to the centrists and just spoke strongly in favor of what's popular and strongly against Trump and stopped trying to do any kind of gestures toward the centrists, she would be literally the most popular politician in the world. Like, that's all you have to do, man. Well, maybe not more popular than Claudia. Claudia's pretty goated, but she could get herself well into the 60s. And you're seeing that with Zoran. You're seeing that with Zoran Mamdani. The more, like in New York City, the place that he actually serves, he's incredibly popular. The only thing that's keeping Zoran Mamdani from being mega popular is he's being mayor of a city is just not nationally relevant. Even a city as popular and as powerful as New York. That's why I'm in favor of more congressional runs. Congressional runs are a lot easier to pull off than mayoral elections. And then staffing a mayor's office, that's really hard work. I don't like the fact that people think that the mayor's office in big cities is something that we should be running on. We should be running for federal power. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying don't run for mayor. I'm just saying that should not be our preeminent race.
She would not like that. She's not done, though. Tell us more.
It's lethal fighting force. And people are like, yeah. And she's like, and we're going to secure the border. And people are like, yeah.
So defeating MAGA by doing MAGA. Defeating MAGA by taking their policies and doing them, but do them more liberally.
We are going to be leaders in the world, and we're not going to let these guys push us around. And I was like, man, the world's really changed.
Did the neocons just take over the Democratic Party?
Don't say that.
Yeah, don't say it.
Did the neocons just take over the Democratic Party? Ha 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 ha. Don't say that. You're putting a little too much truth out there about how we want the Democratic Party to be. How we want them to be. Diet MAGA. That's what this is. Diet fucking MAGA. In the same way, it's diet neoconservatism from the George W. Bush era. Okay? So you want the Democrats to be more right wing. That's what you want.
Look, man, she's leaning into, I'm going mainstream. And, whenever she does, there's a couple, price gouging or whatever. I'm like, boo.
So one of the best parts of Kamala's campaign, when she was up 6 points and she was talking about how she's going to ban price gouging for groceries, she was booing.
By the way, Hasan and I were hyped. I just want you guys to know that the left was ready to jump in support of Harris. We just wanted her to say, I think that Joe Biden, we need to have a new direction in the Gaza war. That's what we were asking for. And a couple of mediocre policies. And we were all sitting there ready to support her to stop Trump. And then she spit in our faces and said, I don't need the left. I love Israel. And I'm going to fight a war on Iran. She said, Iran is our biggest adversary. Tim Walz said in the debate, oh, yeah, I agree with JD Vance. We've got to be ready to nuke Iran, not Israel, on behalf of Israel.
Pro-war and pro-price gouging. And she's the one who's going to police the borders of the Democratic coalition. Are you fucking kidding? Have you no fucking shame? So as Ryan Grimm points out, quote, whenever Kamala Harris does something like price gouging, I'm like, boo, but also whatever. Sarah Longwell, former Republican political operative, boasting that her faction has made Democrats more hawkish. And the cost of that is to once in a while have to hear something they don't like about corporate price gouging. It is one thing to be pro-price gouging because you are a corporate lobbyist. I understand that. But to try to pitch it as something that makes Democrats more electable is comical. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman is a fucking idiot. You know what happens when Democratic politicians listen to Hasan Piker? Zoran Mamdani happens. That's what.
And here is an empirical research paper from the Economic Policy Institute, which says corporate profits have contributed disproportionately to inflation. How should policymakers respond? In case you're wondering if that's economically like literate, normal and recent contributions in growth in unit prices in non-financial corporate sector. Corporate profits were 53% of price increases. Unit labor costs were only 7% of price increases. So over half of inflation went directly to corporate profits, increased corporate profits. The historical average was 11%. So it's literally not even, it's a factual statement to say corporate price gouging was the majority of the price increases during the inflation that happened during Biden's administration.
Kyle, that's only in fucking New York and that can't happen anywhere else. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. All right. So Leah Greenberg, who is one of the co-founders of the organization behind the No Kings protest, she says, personally, I am team #Big Tent, but if we're going to start kicking people out of the party on brand/moral grounds, I would like to nominate number 1, the foreign policy team behind the Gaza genocide, and number 2, every Dem former elected/staffer who takes a cushy job with an overtly evil company. That includes fucking Kalshi, that includes AI companies, that includes crypto companies, that includes Wall Street, that includes big oil, okay? So here's what she's saying. Oh, are we really going to police these, the boundaries and the borders of the Democratic coalition? Well, let's start with the pro-genocide motherfuckers. Let's start with that, okay? And let's start with the corrupt sellouts who take big money from the Epstein class. And she's exactly fucking right. That's who gets kicked the fuck out of the coalition. The people who are diet MAGA Democrats because they just genuinely agree with the right. I'm sorry, but if you're not on the left, you're not with us. We need to have some defining principles and defining policies on what it means to be in this coalition. And from my perspective, you need to be center-left, liberal, leftist, independent, or apolitical. Like, that's it. If you're right of center, sorry, not interested. And the fact of the matter is there are way more of us than there are of them. There are way more people who fit into the coalition I just described than fit into MAGA or any kind of right-wing coalition. And then finally, here's Ro Khanna, and he's asked about this, and I think he does a pretty good job sort of putting into perspective how stupid this entire conversation is. Here we go.
You have made several appearances on a show hosted by socialist commentator Hasan Piker. Some of your fellow Democrats, though, have raised alarms about his views. Here are 2 members of a left-leaning think tank. This is how they put it. They wrote, quote, no left-wing agitator is more influential and extreme than Twitch streamer Hasan Piker. He's referred to ultra-Orthodox Jews as inbred, employed anti-Semitic dog whistles, bloodthirsty, violent pig dog against an anti-Hamas viewer of his stream, compared liberal Zionists to liberal Nazis, and said...
This is so dishonest how they're framing it.
Hamas is 1,000 times better than the Israeli state. Now, Hasan Piker...
Again, mathematically speaking, yes, the death numbers, but okay, let's just fucking...
It's so funny to do this after we spent 40 years listening to Rush Limbaugh. And it's so funny. Like, we live in an America that's had Rush Limbaugh literally having... every time someone died of AIDS, they would have a celebration. Whenever a celebrity died of AIDS, Rush Limbaugh would celebrate. Like, I want you to... Like, this is who we're talking about, right? This is the pearl clutching that is going on. Like what are we even doing here? Like, get the fuck out of here. And here's what I'm going to say to people. I am here to return the energy to the right. I'm going to treat the right the way they've been treating this country for the last 50 fucking years. Since Richard Nixon's crotchety ass got thrown out of power. I am going to be doing exactly what they've been doing to us to them. I'm not here to do mamby-pamby. Oh, I'm empathetic with the Nazi. Oh, why is the poor guy a Nazi? Fuck you. I'm going to call right-wingers inbred. I'm going to laugh at Asmongold's depression. I don't give a shit. I'm not here to be nice to the right anymore. That was tried. It's time for us to nut up and actually speak about them the way that they have spoken about all the rest of us. And the advantage is I have the truth on my side. I don't have to lie about them like they lie about us, but I'm going to put them on the fucking defense. And if that's a project that you believe in, if that's an idea that you want to see succeed, well, then I have exactly the product for you. It's called the Reaction Podcast. This week, if you go to the Reaction Podcast, if that's a project you're interested in, we just roasted the fuck out of Asmongold with Hasan. Over 42,000 listens. 42,000 listens on the Reaction Podcast on YouTube. That's just one platform. We are blowing up. Go subscribe. This week, I believe we're going to be having Liv Agar talking about clavicular. Have you wanted to find out what the fuck clavicular is? Are you trying to understand the looks maxing movement? We are going to have the best podcast in the entire world explaining this phenomenon. So go check it out. The Reaction Podcast. We are going to treat the right the way they like to be treated. Whatever you do, don't read the comments on Freda's community post about the reaction. Oh, that's not Destiny. Although there is some Destiny. That's Bad and Panada is trying to get his guys to spam Freda because Bad and Panada is mad that Freda and Yagopnik are working with me. That's what it is. He's directing his people to try to spam, but honestly, it doesn't matter. He's a loser and he's a schizo. And he's being retweeted by Destiny now. Like Bad and Panada is now aligning with Destiny. What a pathetic worm.
Anyway, let's listen to his response.
So some of his comments have been taken out of context, but he largely stands by them. Do you have any regrets about appearing on his show?
None, and I would go again. But I, of course, condemn those comments. I mean, I've described Hamas as a terrorist state, and we need to unequivocally condemn anti-Semitism. But Hasan Piker was at the DNC in 2024, covering Vice President Harris. What should the standard of the Democrats be? Should we not go on Theo Vaughn? Should we not go on Sean Ryan? Should we not go on Joe Rogan? Should we just have these purity tests of canceling folks? The lesson of the last election is we've got to be out there. We've got to engage. It's a complex, messy, multiracial democracy. I will defend my views, but the people who are saying don't engage will cost us future elections.
I think he handled that well. I mean, look, if I was sitting in the chair, I would have taken head on a lot of the lies and smears that were directed at Hasan about how they're just flat out lying about this guy and his beliefs. But I understand that as a politician, he's in a slightly different situation. But I think he handled that well to say, it was 7 minutes ago that all you idiots were saying we're going to go on all the podcasts, we're going to talk to all the people, we're going to try to win.
Videos or more context of why Destiny is ruining the left? Bro, there's so many. There's so many. He's just a fucking moron. Like, I could get into it more, and he's evil, but I don't want to get distracted.
Over everybody. Now all of a sudden, you're shunning the left.
Mike, I found the context of the clip about black people exactly how you said it. Thank you so much.
Like it or not, black people care about the border. Man, shut the fuck up. Black people care about the border. I don't give a fuck what black people care about or what you think black people care about, okay? I'm talking across the board. The Democratic Party literally is going to fucking lose. And
by the way, that's not even true. Black voters are the most progressive group of voters in the entire country. They are not supportive of strict immigration. That's just not even true. They want a pathway to citizenship. They want, like, that's just not even true.
If they don't lose, move the country to a significantly more right-wing position, okay? Oh, black people care about this, black people care about that. Like, shut the fuck up. That's not how politics works, okay? I hate that. I hate this, like, shield, okay? I hate this fucking idiotic shield, okay? Oh, well, Hasan, how dare you? Like it or not, black people care about this issue. It's like, it's such a fucking stupid stance, okay? It's such an idiotic stance. Nobody operates like this, okay? Black people don't operate like this either. Shut the fuck up. Stop using this as a fucking shield.
Children with asthma, breast cancer survivors, grandparents with diabetes, Georgia, America has tried these failed policies before, and we are not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. That's right. And we are not going back because ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. Across our nation, we are witnessing a full-on assault on hard-fought, hard-won.
Babes, why so angry? Because the white nativist immigration border bill is unimaginably fucking right-wing. And dumb motherfuckers in the chat are like, black people are unimaginably right-wing on the fucking border issues, as though they don't recognize that that's white nativist anyway, and that will inevitably harm black people as well. And by the way, it currently does harm black people as well. There are black fucking undocumented migrants that are crossing the fucking border.
Okay, here we go. I found a PRRI poll of black Americans from 2025, so it's even better now. 69% of black Protestants say they want a pathway for immigrants living in the country illegal to become citizens, provided they meet certain requirements, including 60% of all Americans. Only Hispanic Catholics are more likely to support it. 65% of black people overall say that there should be a pathway for immigrants living in the country illegal to become citizens. So again, it's just not true. Well, I don't know what else to say. The idea that black people are super anti-immigration is just a fucking lie. Of course it's a fucking lie.
Flank. So apparently the, outreach to expand the tent only cut to the right, which meant what? All you idiots are just trying to make the party more right-wing, which has been the fucking problem all along. The further left you go, the more you'll win. And the more you'll actually stand for something from a moral perspective and an ethical perspective, right? The more you'll actually be good people. And by the way, the further left you go, the harder you oppose MAGA. So I'm tired of the diet MAGA bullshit. I'm tired of the Hasan derangement syndrome. And I need everybody to wake up and realize what's going on here.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly the energy that we need. We need ourselves, and I want you to understand, like, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, guys, we need to do this, like, anti-Trump coalition. Trump is not running again. We are about to enter in, and I need you guys to listen to me, and I need you to accept what I'm saying is true. The most important fight that we're going to be in right now, politically, is defeating the centrist Democrats, because they're trying to cave to Trump, and they support the Iran war. So we have got to win the intra-party fight. We have to scare them into being opposed to the Iran war. We have to scare them to be opposed to Israel. And so that is the most important fight. We can't do this coalition because they don't have our back. They want to stab us in the back. Okay? And we need to be ready for that. We have to win the intra-party fight. We have to defeat the centrists. We have to defeat MAGA Light. I'm sorry, but that is the number one fight. And then when we have control of the party, then we can take on Donald Trump and the right. And that's just a sequence of events that has to happen. Okay? That's it. Because if we don't, they're going to try to destroy us in cooperation with Republicans. Mike, can you get Sam Cedar or whatever Kyle has been eating? Kyle is watching Hasan, so he's being radicalized.
When it comes to negotiating with the terrorist government of Iran, Trump's all over the lot. One day he sounds tough, the next day he's backing off. And now, all of a sudden, we find out that Witkoff and Rubio are negotiating a secret side deal with Iran. What kind of bull is this? They're going to sound tough in public and then have a side deal that lets Iran get away with everything? That's outrageous. We need to make that side deal public. Any side deal should be before Congress and, most importantly, the American people. If Taco Trump is already folding, the American public should know about it. No side deals.
This is the Democratic Party saying don't do diplomacy with Iran. I'm sorry, folks, but these are our enemies. And this is the minority leader in the Senate. This is the most important Democrat in the Senate. You cannot overlook this because you don't want it to be true. I don't want it to be true. I wish Chuck Schumer was not like this, but this is the way he is. So if we're going to win, we have to defeat Chuck. And that's why all of us need to encourage Zohran Mamdani to primary this man. Can someone let Chuck Schumer know tacos are already folded? Does this man look like he eats tacos? Do you think this guy is eating a delicious taco? He just eats schmaltz directly from the fucking jar, okay? That is 100% his diet. Okay, let's there you have it. That was a pretty good rant. I thought that was a pretty good rant, chat. Was that a good rant? I have an ulterior motive, chat. I want Kyle Kulinski. I need to find a bunch of like big YouTubers that are left wing to align with. And I've been liking Kyle Kulinski's his political trajectory. So I feel like I feel like I like him more and more. He's becoming more and more aligned with me and less aligned with kind of the more crank people. So that's cool. I've been watching Hasan for years. My mother watches The Bulwark and she's trying to tell me Hasan is anti-Semitic. I don't know how to tell her she's not correct. If your mom is listening to The Bulwark, that's where you failed. That's where you failed. You got to get her on the I've Had It podcast. You've got to get her on Democracy Now! You need to get her off of MSNBC, bro. That's the problem that you have, is she's in that kind of information ecosystem. It's like if somebody's like, my family is a Trump supporter, the answer is block Fox News and OAN on the cable box. Turn on parental controls and block those channels, and then give them an alternative. You need to change their information ecosystem. Kyle invited Vosh on his show, Big L. I mean, listen, we're not gonna listen. I think Vosh is fucking creepy, and he's already been Me Too'd. So I don't like the guy because he also slandered me because I was in favor of sewer socialism, which is Zoran Mamdani's entire strategy. Right? He tried to make fun of me because I was explaining to him the concept of sewer socialism in 2019, well before Zoran ever happened. And so he slandered me and like ridiculed that movement because he was trying to kiss Destiny's ass. That's why I don't like Vosh, right? He's creepy, he's a sex pest. He's been Me Too'd, and he slandered sewer socialism up until the point Zoran did it, in which case he never acknowledged he was wrong. And like, if you're gonna slander another left-wing creator and then ignore the fact that you got completely owned by them and never own up to it, that's also an indication of being a bad guy. Right? Like, oh, that's what Mike was talking about. That's not that complicated. So he's kind of a joke. That's how I feel. But I'm also not going to cancel people because they don't know because of that. That's why I personally don't like them. I'm not going to do this like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody talked to Vosh. Like, it's cringe. We move the fuck on. And I would rather push Kyle in my direction than push him away by being unhinged. You know what I mean? Vosh is just bad. Mallory McMorrow's communication director. Alyssa Slotkin alum. You guys want... Ugh.
As a knock. I mean, how can you, I mean, I guess it is, I guess it is kind of a knock, but like, how do you get to the point where there is so much work left undone or unattended to the point where you can say, you know, in 100 days in office, you filled 100,000 potholes and counting.
You know, I can't speak to what the previous administration was up to when it came to some of these things. You know, sometimes they were abroad, right? Sometimes they weren't here. But but I think it comes back to the fact that I view these things as evidence of the kind of work we're trying to do. Filling a pothole is not a small thing. It's not an unimportant thing. If you can't fill a pothole, how are you going to deliver universal childcare? Right? These are two parts of the same kind of connected set of politics. You have to be able to do both of these things for someone to trust that city government can deliver for them. And the other beautiful thing here, I'll tell you, is that I am leading a city government of 300,000 municipal workers who work so hard every single day. And when we're talking about...
One thing I don't like about, I mean, I honest to God, and I get it. Brian Tyler Cohen has millions of subscribers, you know, like it would be foolish not to use them, but like the guy is not on our side, right? This is not an AOC supporter. All right, this is a Gavin Newsom guy. I think building these guys up is I just don't do it. Oh, here it is. Okay, he does say
potholes. We're talking about DOT workers who are out there.
That's frustrating.
They are putting everything they have into this, and frankly, for far too long, they haven't been recognized. And that's also been one of the most exciting things here, is to shine a little bit of a light on what it looks like to be a part of a city workforce that is doing incredible work, keeping the city running, and committed to the welfare of people who call the city home.
You know, you had mentioned that your mentor is Bernie Sanders. What's the one piece of advice that Bernie had given to you that you still think about or that had the biggest impact on you?
I think in many ways, Bernie is the inspiration for this slogan that we've taken up, which I've now belatedly realized has a connection to Paw Patrol, which is that there's no problem too big, no task too small. Because what Bernie has emphasized to me is this idea of sewer socialism that has sometimes it's felt as if been lost to time. This idea that you deliver this expansive vision of politics through fixes to the most granular problems in people's lives is one that has to be at the heart of the way in which we're approaching every single issue.
Literally what I said to Vosh, almost word to word, by the way.
And we have to remember that there's a reason why people have lost faith in government. It's because they see examples of government's failure on a regular basis. And if you want to get their faith back, you don't convince them in a debate or you give a great speech. You convince them by taking care of the thing that they would point to as a reason as to why they don't believe. And whether it's sewer socialism or maybe we're trying to now dub it pothole praxis, we're looking to take on every single thing that we can.
You know, hearing you talk about...
There you go. I mean... There you go. I mean, it is funny, though, that you can go on my channel And you could be like, wow, it's almost like people should listen to Mike more because sewer socialism, huh? I wonder if that, wow, Mike was saying that shit 5 years ago. Damn, it's almost like I knew what I was talking about. Fuck. Damn, that's crazy. Damn, it's crazy. All right, well, that's pretty good. Okay, I got to pee, chat. Be right back.
Why do members of the Democratic Party have such a hard time saying Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal? Israel has committed war crimes. They have committed a genocide. Why can't they start with facts and then from there discuss what policies beyond that support, no support? A lot of people in the Democratic establishment cannot say this. And you may remember I had that viral moment with Senator Cory Booker last year regarding this issue. And now he's gone on Pod Save America. And our friend John Levitt has asked him a very similar question. Play the clip.
To call Benjamin Netanyahu, say, a war criminal. What happens if you do? What changes by just saying, I believe Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, and that signals what our sort of moral parameters are for the kind of leadership in Israel we view as acceptable?
This is not a political test for me. Benjamin Netanyahu is a horrible person who enabled October 7th and has failed to take accountability. Remember, he knew about the Qataris funding this horrific terrorist organization, Hamas. He knew about that. He allowed that funding to continue. Has failed in that sense. He has within his own administration people that are committing atrocities right now in the West Bank, as we've seen over these last few weeks. I have no problem calling him out and saying that he should be held accountable for any crimes that he's committed. Mm-hmm. My focus, and has been consistently before October 7th, is trying to be a force as a member of the Foreign Relations Committee.
Okay. All right. Pumps, what's your take on that?
My take on that is he's a coward and that he is not calling him a war criminal. He's dancing around it so that he can still backtrack on it when he is able to forgive the crimes that have been committed. I mean, that's what it tells me. He's a fucking coward.
I think it's interesting that my take is that he will not say Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal because then he has to, by inference there, admit that Israel has committed war crimes.
Right.
And he danced around the West Bank and he talked about Netanyahu enabling October 7th, but he refuses to say, look, Israel has committed a genocide. These are war crimes, human rights violations that shock the conscience. And we have to, in my opinion, have an opposition party. We have to have a fucking opposition party to all of this insanity. And if we cannot start the conversation off by stating facts, Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. Israel commits war crimes. And then discuss policy and funding beyond that. The Democratic Party is the party that does the same thing over and over again and expects a different result. That's my opinion on this. And so obviously, Benjamin Netanyahu, this photo is from July 9th, 2025. And this is where Cory Booker's playing peekaboo over there. And you got, Lion Ted up there front and center. But you have a lot of other Democrats here, too. You've got Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, Chris Coons, and others. And so there's this whole thing right now in the Democratic Party where we have what I call the establishment. And in my opinion, they are preservationists. They want to preserve the system that they govern in. Cory Booker wants to preserve his status. And I think Cory Booker is a fascist collaborator. Benjamin Netanyahu, aside from being a war criminal, is a fascist. I mean, this is a fascist government. And these other Democrats are fascist collaborators. And now, after the loss, Kamala's loss, it's like all the Democrats need to go on podcasts. They need to be less scripted. We can't have cancel culture anymore, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know what your online feed has looked like, but mine for the last 2 weeks is like, we need to cancel Hasan Piker. And it's all of these moderates and centrists that want to cancel Hasan Piker. Pumps, what's your take on all that?
Here's my take. I have long been someone that only develops new ideas and evolves in my thought when I am challenged and when I listen to the perspective of others. And so then I take my perspective and that person's perspective, and then I find what I think is the best. And I do not believe that people get better and or policy gets better if criticism is not shared and integrated and perspectives evolve. And I do not think you can have that if you want to silence anyone that disagrees with you. And you know who else doesn't, who agrees with me on that is MAGA, because they allow for no dissent within their party. So I think what's going on with Hasan Piker is an embarrassment to the Democratic establishment and all the people that are perpetuating it.
Okay, so John Levitt, in this interview with Cory Booker, asked him about whether he would appear on Hasan Piker's stream. Play the clip.
As you said, and it's just one person, but it's part of a large group of, I think, people that have this point of view, that you wouldn't say go on like Hasan Piker's stream because he's said some heinous and stupid shit in the past. But to me, I would expect you'd be like chomping at the bit to say, you know what, of course I'm going to go there because I want to represent this point of view in a place that doesn't normally hear it. And I want to talk about the ways in which I think some of the things he said are offensive, the same way you might want to go confront somebody on Fox News or you've
Why are they acting like Hasan needs to be confronted instead of Hasan is right about the issues? That's what's so funny. They want to talk about these like dumb comments because it's a distraction from the policies that you support, which is kissing Benjamin Netanyahu's ass, supporting America's wars abroad and drone strikes, the fact that you support the private health insurance industry over American people, the same way you support Wall Street over the Main Street. Like, you want to talk about Hasan saying somebody is inbred because a settler was attacking a convoy of civilian aid in the West Bank. And you're going to pretend like that's an issue as opposed to all the issues that you warmongering fucks are openly supporting and capitulating to the right. Pathetic.
With, talk to Newt Gingrich, and he said crazy shit in the past too. So maybe part of the way out of this is for someone like you to go to those spaces, even if there have been things.
I want you guys to know two things. One, Cory Booker is too smart to know. He knows he can't debate these points. The only way to counter the left is to prevent it from getting exposure. Do you know why they know that? It's called history. If you let the left operate freely, it will win. They know that. So they have to do the only thing that has been effective, which is suppressing it and marginalizing it. He will never go to Hasan's space because he can't debate it. He can't win.
That are offensive to people.
Yeah, so first of all, somehow we're having a much more deeper and personal conversation than I thought, so I'm going to be very candid with you.
Gotcha.
Got me, but in a very good way.
I always want to talk to you about deep things.
No, I appreciate that.
Okay, stop it right there. So when I saw this clip, this struck me. Number one, the first thing that strikes me is that Cory Booker will take a photograph with Benjamin Netanyahu in the middle of a genocide, but draws the line with going on Hasan Piker's Twitch. But the second thing that struck me there was when Cory Booker said, oh, this conversation is much deeper than I had thought. And I'm going to let you all in on a little secret. When we filmed with Cory Booker, after Kamala lost, all of the Democrats came to us. We want to be on your pod. We want to be on your pod. And we're like, great. Yeah, you can be on our pod. I don't have a corporate news background, so I ask questions that I think are relevant. And some Democratic politicians come on and they don't want to know what they're talking about and they don't care. They just want to talk about the country and whatever questions I have for them. Others are a lot more scripted and controlled. And Cory Booker's office, it's in our producers. Cory wants to talk about XYZ. And I saw those talking points, but right out of the gates, I asked him, what have you had it with? And he said, I've had it with corporate money. And I was just like, bitch, please, you take like millions of dollars in AIPAC money. So it led down that rabbit hole, right? Because I was like, wait, this seems hypocritical. And instead of staying on the script that his office sent me, I went with his answer as a normal conversation should. Well, the whole time I'm asking about Benjamin Netanyahu, his office is stage 5 melting down, texting our producers, trying to get her to like, hey, we didn't agree to talk about this, blah, blah. My point in this is not to pick on Cory Booker or his staff. They are operating the way they've always operated in corporate media. That's the way it's been. They were doing what they've
Okay, I'm not, listen, I love the I've had it, ladies. But I don't have any of the like cope about somebody like Cory Booker or Barack Obama, right? Like these guys are exactly what they want to be. They support the position. They support Israel. They support the drones. They support private health insurance. It's not, there's no confusion. They're anti-raising the minimum wage. It is what it is, you know? So it is what it is. Well, chat, I'm actually going to call it a little bit early today because I've got some issues I have to take care of, unfortunately. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. We had a fucking banger stream. I feel like the energy is back. Sorry about yesterday. Yesterday, the energy was a little off, but today the energy was fucking amazing. And we ended up at 6,087 subs. Hell yeah. Thank you so much, chat. We're killing it. We're rising again. Thank you for all the support. Make sure you guys get over to the Reaction Podcast. Listen to the Nick Fuentes episode. Please continue giving ratings, reviews, comments, likes. Tell them to put the red line back. I think they should put the red line, but up 50% or like 20% of the way. So people feel like they already clicked it and they need to go back to where they were listening, but not completely full. You know what I mean? The strategy for the red line. Thank you, Jaeger Larson, for the 8. I'm going to call it there today. We're going to do a little bit of a shorter stream. And I'm going to send y'all over to... I'm going to send you over to the mothership, chat, because I'm going to be watching him anyway on my other monitor. All right, everybody. Stay safe. Mother's hip, mothership. All right, everybody. Stay safe. Solidarity forever. Thank you for all the support. I'll see you guys, gals, non-binary pals tomorrow. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for all the support. Don't forget, subscribe to the Central Committee stream, the Mike from PA YouTube channel, and of course, the Reaction Podcast. All right, everybody. See you soon. Peace.